so we will watch the round 3 of the losers bracket, which is Pirl Fresh versus Niorra. And hey Taker, welcome in. Let's see. So here's the losers bracket. Well, there it is. And top. So yeah, right. So Pirl is the person who beat Gustav, while Niorra actually bested MPT, Nuclear Pasta Tom. Which is you know, both very good players that they had to beat to get here. Also, whoever wins, their next opponent is also already decided. So whoever wins today, either Pirl or Niorra, is gonna face a Rambler next. Some new names here you haven't seen before. Yeah, there's so many crazy good players as well, and I feel like a lot of players from different countries, and like I feel like if you're more in the English speaking scene, then sometimes you haven't really heard of some of the French speaking communities, because I feel like the communities were a little bit separate for a lot of the time, but the French players are actually insane giga chads, and they're super good. And so I love this this format where it kind of brings a little bit the English and the French community together, and everyone's playing each other. Came just in time for casting, yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for this match. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, I mean, in season 1, also, can you see the bracket from season 1? Yeah, season 1, look. Look who we're watching today. Pirl Fresh, literally the winner of the last season. Time for you to watch and get concerned, yeah, Ramble. I guess today, you know, it's that nervous waiting to find out who you're gonna face. Are you gonna face literally the champion of season 1? Or are you gonna face Niorra, who, yeah, exactly. I was pretty sure that Niorra was also in the last season. And interesting, actually, this is pretty much a rematch. So Niorra and Pirl Fresh have actually faced each other before, but in season 1. So today is the rematch in the next season. And last time by one boss. So also it was incredibly close, right? So there's history between these two, and the scores were so close to each other. Pirl Fresh actually beating Niorra with 69 nice bosses, only by 1. So we'll see if today maybe it's gonna go the other way around, or if we're gonna see a repeat, and then Rambler is gonna have to shake a little bit, or I don't know, maybe they're both gonna die a bunch of times, and then Rambler is gonna be like, easy peasy. No, we'll see. I mean, both of them are great players, so I'm assuming it's gonna be a very fun match to watch. And hello Actorith, hey Hooser, hey Lark, hey Serazium, welcome. Yeah, Pirl, your WoW obsessed goat. That's also so funny. Pirl, I remember, I think I was already in season 1, where I remember instead of practicing, Pirl was just playing World of Warcraft a lot of the time. You know, I guess just taking a chill, having a fun time, you know. Maybe he needs the WoW grind to really lock in, though. You know, maybe that's a secret tech. Prediction is a French player will prevail today. Whoa, that's crazy. I would have never guessed that. Yo, Boba Cobra, welcome in. Have fun, thank you. I think I will have a lot of fun because this is a historical match. The rematch of a lifetime, of course. Yes. And then Pirl also, yeah, took it all the way to the end. And Pirl liked the 69 in season 1. The first match, won with 69. Second match, won with 69. Third match, won with 69. But then in the finals, it was 71-70. Nice. And in season 2, he hasn't been sticking to the 69, but I guess that also maybe, I mean, it would have been enough against Gustav and also against Dagan, I guess, because he died dagan that is. But yeah, we're gonna have a co-commentator join us, of course, because I can't yap for this long alone. And it's Kata, none other than the
big surprise. Hello.
Catalyst Z.
Did you change noise gate?
Yes.
Wow.
I am giga prepared. Let me also change the music so that it's not like giga overstimulating. I was actually just talking about the history of these two players.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
It's kind of cool that they already faced each other in season 1, and I wonder if it's gonna change this time. The outcome.
Oh, the outcome. Yeah, I thought that the fact that they faced each other in season 1 was gonna change.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back in history, you know.
Sounds good. I mean, just tell Forsa to like edit the website a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize yesterday when I watched Engsmaster that he was actually in the final of season 1.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he played like trash, but in the final. But yesterday, I mean, he was playing really well. Obviously, no surprise. And yeah, I mean, I think that the thing is, Pirl last season, you know, he kind of stepped up his game as the playoffs went on and played better and better and better, as you said. At the same time, this season I think it's a little bit different because he didn't do that well in the qualifiers, and in the playoffs he's been okay so far.
Might even see. Oh, yeah, 17,
yeah, he like barely didn't make the cuts to the upper bracket, so he started in the lower brackets. And if you look at the playoff run that he's had so far in the lower bracket, you can see he's at the very top. Like, he's had decent clears, 74, 73, but those are not like insane scores, even on like lower scoring seeds generally. And both of his previous opponents died, right? So he did have, I don't want to say a free pass, but a little bit. And so my main question is he gonna keep on like elevating his game and actually play really, really well today? One thing that plays into his advantage is the fact that he had, 2 elimination matches already, potential elimination matches, while Niorra has had just 1 so far. And so he has like the high pressure situation experience, and we'll see if it comes into play today over Niorra.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wondering if he played a lot of WoW before today just to calm himself down.
Well, yesterday, I rated him yesterday, and he was doing some New Game plus like 8 Deathless thing in Elden Ring, so he was at least playing Elden Ring.
Oh, not bad. Yeah, interesting. And then, we were also already talking about that Rambler is gonna literally see live now who he's gonna have to face next. That's pretty fun that it's already decided who's going to be the next opponent. But yeah, I'm very curious. I'm excited about this match just because of the history and both of them being really good players. And I'm pretty sure that we also cast in like season 1 of the matches together between. I definitely remember Niorra casting one of the matches.
We've definitely watched Niorra, together, and we casted the grand final between Ings and Pirl. I mean, we casted pretty much everything in season 1.
I guess that's true.
Because there was no one else doing it.
Yeah, very cool.
Right, I think we can probably pull up the feeds of the players. I mean, they will be starting momentarily. We can look at the starting classes, see what they are choosing.
There we are.
I need to clean my glasses so I can actually see. You dyed shirt for Pirl. Also, Pirl with a green screen. My man elevating his game in many ways.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, the you died is for Niorra. It's a message.
I see.
You know, it's a threat.
But it's not in French. Is he gonna understand?
Tu morte. No, that's probably more Spanish. I don't know. I don't know French. I'm sorry. I just offended everyone.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we need to change the quality real quick on them from auto to the max.
Sounds good.
But I mean, we see players right now hovering different classes. Pirl is looking at the Confessor, which does have the Break Hammer, I think. It looks like it, yeah.
I like that hammer. I mean, it's a hammer. Hammers are usually good.
Thing is, it's a great hammer, right? And the meta, as we know, is the power stance. Yeah, the jump attack power stance meta right now. And you can usually do that with a couple of different weapon classes. I had Azaz kind of explain everything to me yesterday. Obviously, you can do it with great swords. The damage there isn't amazing. The poise isn't amazing, but it doesn't take as much stamina and you can wear more armor. Then you can do it with great axes, which have the highest damage output outside of Colossals. But they do not have as much poise. Great hammers are slightly weaker than the great axes in damage, but they deal more poise, so you get more staggers. That can play a role especially more in the late game, right? When, for example, staggers can mean more of an opportunity to attack, especially if the bosses don't give you as many window openings. And then there's Colossals, which deal the most damage, but it's kind of hard to hit with them sometimes, and they also use the most stamina. Now, if you're using the Colossals, that also means you are going to be overloaded a lot of the time, and you need to strip down your armor, which may sound hot, but the thing is, it actually makes you take more damage, and if you're trying to trade with bosses, that might be bad. And it also lowers your poise, so potentially sometimes you're going to get staggered, especially on running sections.
Interesting. I do feel like here the Confessor is probably just the class of choice also because of the armor, right? Because it starts with the Raptor's feathers,
That's
which
also a good
gives
point, yeah.
jump attack bonus damage. So I feel like since the meta is a lot of jump attack builds, even if they don't stick with this hammer throughout the whole game, just because the jump attacks are just so good, especially if they find some other things.
You can probably move this slightly. How do you have the
Maybe
camera
not like
so
that.
it holds? Well, how do you have the camera so it holds? This
Just
thing is
no,
crazy.
just put it like that.
But then it's like this.
Well, what
and
did you do? You broke my setup!
mean?
Oh my god.
I didn't move that at all. I just moved it sideways.
Oh, you must have moved something.
No. I just moved it sideways. But like half of your camera is your microphone arm, and then I like have to sit sideways to fit in. That's the problem.
How about this?
That's very good. See, now I don't have to like, I can just sit normally. You should also move the mic a little bit. There we go. Perfect. I mean, now it's good.
Yes, perfect. Right? Yes. Well.
Well, what?
Alright. Well, hello everyone who also just came in. Hey Alexa, hey Cashew, hey Himbedoni, hey Doomy, hey Daniel, hey Nunkin. Welcome in. Who wants to see the sidekick anyway? You guys, you know. Kata is the giga knowledgeable commentator. You know, he's done a lot of matches so far. So, and yesterday, I guess you learned a lot from Azaz about the jump attacks.
About the weapons. I mean, Azaz always brings really good knowledge to the table. And always having someone who's competed in this season is super nice because they can try to explain what the players are thinking in the moment, right? Like what because they can think of like how they would play the match themselves. We can also see that both players are starting with the Sacred Tier Keepsake. This is really nice because it allows you to do either two things. You diverge from your routing and you pick up one fewer Sacred Tier because Sacred Tiers and Golden Seeds are not randomized, but players obviously they start with the default flask, so they also want to make sure they get some upgrades because otherwise trading or being in a boss chain can be quite dangerous. Like if you have to use all of your flasks, then yeah, that's just not that great for the next bosses. So they can save a little bit of time, or alternatively they can stick to their routing, and usually players end up getting a +3, sometimes +4 flask. So if they start with a Sacred Tier, they might get, to +4 or to +5. So they will just have a slightly better flask for themselves and a little bit more safety that way.
Well, we're almost about to hop into the match. Only 2 minutes left. It seems like they are both gonna start with the Confessor, which I feel like is pretty much the obvious choice. Just because of the armor and the weapon both being good. They also have a shield. I'm not sure if that one has parry. Probably not. I mean, it's also a medium shield,
It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter. Fair.
Like, what would you even parry? Like, you don't parry
Consort?
anything. No, not even
Not
consort.
even consort?
I mean, you just power stance, right? The thing is, The thing is that there's the warrior class, which sometimes, potentially that was the case yesterday, can start with one of the power stanceable weapons as well. I mean, because warrior has 2 of them, you can pretty much get jump attacking immediately. But the thing is, I think that despite that, people or players would have chosen this starting class because of the armor, as you said, since that's like an extra piece of build that you might have over your opponent, and then in the long run, if you find yourself another great hammer, you will be able to outpace them. So neither player will have that advantage in this match, which I think is nice.
Yeah. You can see Niorra's heart rate going up the closer we get to the match.
Yeah.
He was at 99, now he's 117. Always fun when players have a heart rate monitor, I think. And there we go.
Started at the same time. Very nice.
Let's go. Good luck to both of them. I'm hoping for a match with no deaths.
Snowfield and Jagged Peak as the extra graces. That already tells me that there's no extra Altus access if they do not find Dectus. It means they will either have to go through Precipice or find the Dectus halves. So that might be kind of interesting, especially if they find one Dectus half, they might do a little bit more fishing. We saw that in Niorra's match that we casted in the upper bracket, where he kept on kind of fishing for a little too long, and then he was in Altus too late and lost against Roman, right? So we will see if he learned from it, or if he's gonna go for a similar strategy. That's the first important point. The second important point is that Snowfield and Jagged Peak can both present some extra bosses if the pace of the match is insane. Like, if they get a good build going and if they find Dectus, they might run out of bosses, and as such, they might be looking for extras, where Snowfield would present Theodorix, really high scaling, but he's right there by the Grace. And Jagged Peak, also insane scaling, especially because both players start with no Scadutree fragments. However, checking the first boss, especially in Jagged Peak, the Jagged Peak dual replacement, is very quick. So if you find something really easy, you might be able to get an extra point.
Very nice. Yeah, they're both looking through their equipment right now, because usually players start out going to the first merchant and selling pretty much everything that they can, right? So they're sorting out what they actually want to wear throughout the start of the match, or even throughout the whole match. And then anything else they're probably going to just sell off, just so that they can get money for upgrade materials.
Exactly, yeah. Pirl has always been a little notorious with a little bit of a special routing that he does. He always routes slightly different than the meta, so to speak. And sometimes it, comes back to bite him, and sometimes it's really, really good in terms of, running around a little bit more, looting a little bit more, similar to Engsmaster, who we watched yesterday. But the advantage is potentially that you might find pieces of build that could make you stronger, and then you get an advantage over your opponent temporarily until they catch up. Or you might find some small golden runes, be able to upgrade a little bit more, or find specific smithing stones that you can use. So the advantage is there in that sense, but then the downside could be the fact that you might have to skip a boss. You have to run, for example, to Dragon Barrow twice if you're going to be checking it early, that kind of stuff. So you might lose a little bit of time here and there. But so far, both players are having the same pathing here in Liurnia.
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. Both also finished selling off their equipment at almost the exact same time, so they're very much head-to-head right now, and I'm curious to see when their paths are going to start to diverge, because sometimes it happens pretty quickly, and sometimes they almost do the same thing the whole match. So I guess we'll see which will be the case here. There's a giant hand right in front of the teleporter to the academy. That's a little scary. Yeah, Pirl actually going here from the back just to not risk the hand aggroing at all. Same for Niorra. And yeah, hand didn't care at all. But I guess that one probably wouldn't be able to reach you anyway, right? In the inside.
Inside of where? What do you mean?
Inside that little...
Oh, I see. Well, of course it would be, because it has an attack that kind of goes through walls. So... just because of the sheer size,
Yeah, makes sense. Oh, so better safe than sorry then.
Yeah, absolutely. We also saw Niorra pick up a few extra items. Both players right now, they're running through an area that they're gonna have to traverse anyways. And They're doing a little bit of extra looting on the side because, as I said, they might find some extra items. This graveyard can be a little scary. We have seen people die here at 0 bosses and their score got locked.
Yeah, Mesmer soldiers can be pretty scary. There was one just now for Pirl. But also finding some smithing stones, so I guess that was worth it for sure.
Yeah, in the end, even if you find Sombers, you can just sell them, and so
True.
you have a little bit of extra money for upgrades. Niorra chooses not to go for the graveyard. He's heading straight to Temple Quarter Grace, and then he's probably gonna go upgrade. And then the question is he gonna go? And this goes for either player. Are they gonna go to Limgrave or are they gonna start in Liurnia? Starting in Liurnia gives you a chance to kill some boss that can give you a decent amount of runes, and then you try to upgrade as fast as possible. Starting in Limgrave means you're gonna be a little lower upgraded, but you have a chance to find the Remembrance, because Remembrances in this format only drop from bosses. You cannot find them in the open world. And the amount of, the chances that you have in Limgrave to get a Remembrance from the early bosses that you choose is actually relatively high.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the Dagger Talisman. Would you ever buy that? I think. Or...
If you right now, it would definitely be useful because neither player has the power stance set up just yet. Mm-hmm. At the same time, you're not going to be buying it now because you need to maximize your upgrades, right? You want to use as much money as possible for that.
Yeah,
but later on, like, if it's always an opportunity cost. If they have something better, then you don't want to use it. But if they do not have such good talismans, then yeah, you would go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see both players upgrading a seal right now that came with their starting care package. After that, they're going to pick up the weapon that they had in their inventory and pick it right off the ground. That upgrades it automatically to the highest level that they've achieved. And now both players heading back to do some killing. Here in Limgrave, same routing. But what's interesting is the fact that Niorra was able to get a plus 15, while Pirl, with some of the extra routing, and potentially maybe he sold something else that Niorra didn't, Pirl is now sitting at plus 19.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of a difference there. That might not play a role if these bosses are fairly quick. In Limgrave, usually there are. It might not play a role whatsoever.
Yeah, I feel like Niorra here chose a little bit of a tough one to go as the first boss. It's a duo boss. The Perfumer is really annoying with the shields, right? So, like, being able to make you not be able to deal damage to the boss at all. And I just feel like dealing with a duo boss right at the start is a little scary. I kind of like what Pirl is doing a little bit better, just because where he's going, it's super low scaled. While Niorra had to restart this fight. I feel like coming back with a little bit more damage for this one could be very valuable. Oh, but now Pirl has Mesmer. Phase 1.
Mesmer's gonna be fine. He deals no damage.
Yeah, alright. Well, no problem then.
Oh, and Pirl, actually, where do you find the large club?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if he found that at the graveyard. That is a huge play because right now he gets to power stance way before Niorra does. Mm-hmm. And Niorra is probably never going to come back to that graveyard. Oh, he found it at the Beach Merchant. Okay, so that's a huge pickup. You're watching Niorra do the fight. Missed that.
Oh, there's
also an Aging Untouchable right outside of the Grove Side Cave.
Scary, but should be fine with losing sight here inside of the cave. Goes out right away again. That seems to be fine. As long as you're in Torrent, honestly, these Untouchables are not that bad. Also, Pirl found a Remembrance already.
Yeah, he found 2. He got a double drop from that Mesmer. We've seen that recently as well. There's a chance for a double drop like that. Because all the Remembrances are obviously randomized to a limited amount of bosses. And so sometimes you get a double drop like this.
That's crazy. I mean, that's just like a random decision making that Pirl did of going through the beach first. Which I actually really like that routing, just because that boss is so low scaled, you get another merchant to check on the way. So I feel like that is actually really nice, but you can't know that you actually find something good there, right? So, but that really puts Pirl ahead with the 2 Remembrances and, of course, the power stancing build online already.
Yeah, the thing is that there's a couple of, like, I feel like it's usually the meta to go to the beach. Players usually do that. But there's a couple of advantages and a couple of disadvantages. Advantage is the extra merchant. Disadvantage, you don't see the boss up front. And if you've just upgraded, you might not have enough money to buy anything from the merchant, right? So that means you are there, and then you have to go back to Roundtable, and you only get the goods from the merchant basically once you have enough money to upgrade, because you don't want to go to Roundtable multiple times. You want to minimize the amount of trips to Roundtable. But at the same time, I do like the play from Pirl, because even just the knowledge of what the merchant has is already valuable. You know that, oh, maybe there's a second Great Hammer. I don't have to loot as much to actually, you know, kind of elevate my build right now. So it gives you a little bit of an edge in just information as well.
Yeah. And Pirl immediately also went back to the round table to upgrade his seal, and that's also his 2 weapons to the fullest that he can. And I mean, that just puts him so ahead. Like, Niorra is at a +15 weapon, a singular +15, while Pirl is already rocking 2 +24 power stance weapons. So, that's, well, I guess we'll see how far ahead Pirl can...
Another reason that I also don't like what Niorra did specifically. He's also not checking Bernal right now. That makes sense. I mean, he's gonna check the bell bearing in Roundtable. But the reason I don't like what Niorra did is because you are rushing out of the Growside Cave to get to Stormhill, and you always have to go over that Crucible Knight Evergel. And that is fairly highly scaled, and sometimes the difference between, you know, a +15, +24, even in Limgrave with that scaling can make a difference, right? If you find someone like, I don't know, Midra, like some DLC boss, whatever, Leonine moved out of the shack. Oh, it's another dual boss actually. Camera here not being very friendly to Niorra. So you might lose time over someone who just goes to the beach, and if they get lucky, like Pirl did, you know, gets a lot of resources, and if they come back to the Evergel, or to this boss specifically, they're gonna have a lot more power when, excuse me, when doing this fight.
Yeah.
So I do think that what Pirl did actually makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I think so as well. And Pirl found another remembrance as well in the DRL Evergel. So he's just so far ahead now. You can also see the amount of vigor that he was able to level by now. So he's really in a comfortable place now. Doesn't have to worry about getting one-shot too much, and can really just start blasting. While Niorra really has to be careful here, right? The Crucible Knight is pretty scary at his HP still. And so it's taking him a while to take down this Crucible Knight. Well, I assume once we see Pirl get to this fight, he's just gonna, like, 3-shot it or something like that. It's gonna be...
I don't think he's gonna 3-shot the Crucible Knight, but I absolutely agree with you. I think that this is really unlucky for Niorra right now. The fact that I honestly think that he should just not be doing this fight right now, because it's right next to a Grace. You can come back when you are stronger. Like, this is taking so long. For Limgrave, this is more like a Dragon Barrow tier fight almost in terms of how long it takes. But it's a little unlucky for him that the bosses that he's facing right now on his route are like fairly tanky. When he just is so far behind right now in terms of the loadout.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I just it's just, you can't know all these things, but I also have to say that I do agree with you that I like the general logic of Pirl's routing a little bit more, and it makes sense that that is more of the standard routing that players usually do.
Well, not what he's doing now. Most players don't actually go straight to Weeping. The idea behind this is to get to the merchant in Weeping as soon as possible, so that you can see, like, hey, is there a Claw Talisman, right? If there's Claw Talisman, like, suddenly your jump attacks are even stronger still. A lot of players will go through, like, the northern part of Limgrave a little bit more, make it potentially to patches, check the merchant on the bridge, and only after that go into Weeping. While Pirl, ever since DRL Season 1, he has enjoyed going down south to Weeping fairly early in the match.
Yeah. That's interesting because I feel like the seed looks so different on both perspectives. I feel like Pirl is having a route where it seems like, this is just a baby seed, while Niorra actually gets so many tough bosses. He also just had to fight Dane, which is a really difficult boss. It's an NPC, and they're always pretty annoying to deal with. He hasn't found a single remembrance yet, still has not a lot of vigor, while Pirl, again, found another remembrance. He found the Elden Beast remembrance, which is a lot of money. So it's just so interesting how these different paths make the seed look so different to each other. even though they're playing the same one, of course.
Yeah, it is a little unlucky for Niorra right now, for sure. I mean, his game would have been elevated if he just went to the beach, like, a lot. But despite that, the bosses that he's fighting right now, like, yeah, it is definitely a little unlucky.
Yeah.
It looks at the merchant here at Sainsbridge, finds nothing. And Pirl now, actually, he's not going to the merchant just yet. He will return back to the northern part of Limgrave.
Yeah, so now we can see probably the difference, how the damage that Pirl has. I mean, yeah, he just completely obliterates the Trisha.
I mean, this is insane. Like, he's gonna two-shot this Clean Out Knight.
And how long did it take Niorra? It took quite a few hits. So it's just such a big difference.
And Niorra now progressing towards the third church of Marika. Players usually go there to get another flask, and it's also Dragon Barrow access for later. And you get to loot this graveyard almost for free. I mean, you're basically going over it. Unfortunately for Niorra, nothing really good there at the moment.
Yeah, sadly not. And yeah, the large club was at the beach merchant, so I guess it's all a question of when will Niorra go down there, because I expect that he would also immediately go for the dual wield once he finds it, or maybe he'll find some other large hammer that he can dual wield, but so far not very lucky.
Microside Cave now, seeing it for the first time. We'll see what the boss is. Skin Apostle. Barbaric Roar even used. I mean, Barbaric Roar usually is not the most desirable Ash of War. It boosts your damage, but it changes your tap and charge R2 to something that is completely unusable. Which, you know, charge R2 usually very important button in Elden Ring, but for these players with this kind of build, I mean, you're just jump attacking, so you don't really care. Okay, this is a Snail, Godskin Noble coming up.
Yeah, but you can see with that vigor, he can really also just trade with the boss.
Yeah.
Right? He can have that confidence that, okay, even if the boss hits me, I'm not just gonna die in like 2 or 3 hits. It's gonna take way longer, so I can trade here and use my HP as a resource at the same time. And so he really just blasts through this, one-shots the snail.
Yeah, he drank his physic between the phases as well. Reapplied the buff, and despite Godskin Noble being strong against strike damage, got blasted. And Niorra still, now he's heading over through the Duelist Catacombs. He's doing the route to Patches. I mean, basically Niorra's routing right now is completely standard, except for not going to the beach. That's like the only thing that is different.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see why he doesn't like going there, or if that's something that he regularly does. Or if it was just something today.
Now he's facing...
Yeah.
Ivan B's Dancing Lion. It's just another unfortunate boss fight that he has to go through. Obviously, this could be the Deathblight one as well, which would make this even worse. In a closed-off arena, you cannot run away as far. And the damage here is just awful.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how long it's taking him, and also the lion deals quite a bit of damage, so it can get pretty scary pretty quickly.
Nice repose damage though, goes in for another jump attack. Will heal up between the phases. It's a Deathblight version, however, Niorra is very close to getting the boss kill.
Oh, that's so scary though, the Deathblight can build up so quickly.
Oh, he's standing in it! No! He's blocked! He kills the boss!
Oh my god, he got it! He got it! He didn't die! That was one tick away! Oh my god, I'm sorry, but like, what?
He just presses this crazy. He's stuck between the basilisks and the wall, and he just presses R1. Like, he's not trying to get away, he just kills the boss. And when you kill the boss, the basilisks die instantly, and they stop their attacks as well, so there was no further build-up. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no wonder he almost had a heart attack at 165. Like, oh my god. His face also, like, showed it all. I think he thought he just died there, but, wow. That was, calculated. Of course.
He let himself get cornered, missed the roll on the last part of the combo. I thought that he would be fine there. All he needed was to hit that roll and get an R1 in, and it escalated quite quickly. But luckily for us, and luckily for Niorra right now, Score is still 6-5, deathless on both sides.
Wow. But that again shows it's the lack of damage that makes it so difficult and so much more dangerous, right? Because I think once
Worm face.
Worm face, also scary,
really
but
good
really
RNG
good.
though. Yeah, that's the opening attack you want to see. Unfortunately, there was a miss on that power stance attack. Gonna lose a little bit of time for sure. But I mean, no problem there.
All right, now Niorra add patches. God, merci. He's definitely saying merci after that dancing line. I can't believe that he lived there. That was so crazy.
I mean, it's not about leveling vigor though. Like he hasn't upgraded yet. He has not found a single remembrance.
Yeah.
He has no choice. Like he needs to keep the money to try and upgrade. He cannot decide to just level vigor. He'll be stuck at plus 15 forever at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the problem, right? It's literally just not going to the beach merchant because that's where Pirl found 2 remembrances and then he kept finding remembrances.
Yeah, now he's doing it.
Alright, so then he'll be able to upgrade quite a bit.
Yeah, but now, I mean, he's killed 6 bosses, and a lot of those bosses, for Niorra that is, they have taken a long time because of simply what the bosses were, you know, whether it's the Crucible Knight, whether it's the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, for example, whether it's Dane, being from DLC, he's also quite tanky. So, yeah, he's gonna find the large club.
Yeah.
Picks it up. Now we're gonna head over to the beach, and now it's gonna, I don't want to say it's gonna equalize because, I mean, Pirl has just found so much money at this point, but it is gonna equalize in terms of upgrade power at least, because Niorra's gonna get his 2 remembrances, he will go upgrade, and then hopefully he can kind of start blasting as well.
Yeah. It's just that Pirl was able to use that, like, I mean, I don't know how much stronger he is, but by quite a lot, and he was able to utilize that for so much longer already than Niorra. So, I mean, it was almost like 15 minutes or something that he had that much more power, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I talk about like how long the bosses have taken, because that's really what matters, right? Is the fact that Niorra's bosses that took a long time are gonna take much shorter down the line for Pirl, because he hasn't been to those same locations just yet. Yeah, now he finds the double remembrance, Niorra does.
Yeah, he's laughing. I really do wonder if it's something that he usually goes to the beach earlier as well, or if that's something he always routes like this, and if he's now thinking like, oh man, maybe I should have gone to the beach right away. But of course you can never know what you find there, right?
I think the idea is more like he probably realizes, unlucky here for Pirl, he realizes that Pirl probably does have it. This is unfortunate for Pirl. 40 jumped to the bottom under the bridge.
Oh, the fire is a little scary there.
But the interesting thing about this, he's gonna get this kill with one more swing. The super interesting thing about Pirl's routing, okay, he normally gets the Aguil Lake North Grace though, I believe. But the interesting thing about his routing is that he's coming from the other side. Normally players go from the Limgrave Tunnel to the bridge and then into Waypoint Ruins. But he goes the other way around. He comes from Waypoint Ruins going up north, right? Because he went to the Aguil Lake South much earlier in the match. So him having 40 jump down like this actually didn't waste as much time. Because he does have the first step grace, so he will simply use the first step grace to run towards the Limgrave Tunnel. So other players would have been punished a little bit more with that RNG. Oh,
interesting. Niorra is actually duping that is that 40 Ash of War or something.
I'm not sure, but he's duping an Ash of War. Yeah, he has
very
the lost art or lost whatever it's called, just lost Ash of War thingy. And yeah, players use it in this format so that they can dupe an Ash of War, put it on both of their weapons, and then switch to making both the weapons heavy. Now, obviously, heavy gives you more strength scaling. I'm not sure that Niorra right now has as high of a strength to really justify that, especially because you're not two-handing your weapons when you're power stancing. So your strength, you don't get that, 50% bonus that you're normally used to when you play Elden Ring. So I think that standard might be a little bit stronger for now, but eventually both players will definitely want to make their weapons heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Niorra's damage also now hugely increased. Doing some menuing while waiting for the second part of this fight.
Yeah, you can
Very
see
smart.
he picked up the dagger talisman, for example. His game giga lagged. He got really confused. But yeah, he did pick up the dagger talisman as his game is lagging like crazy. Hopefully there will be no issues that you mentioned at the start of the match, because he just doesn't really have anything better. Like there was sleep resistance that's not really super useful for this.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a tough time with this noble. The noble not really letting Niorra attack as much. Right now, you can see Pirl trying to jump attack the boss inside of the shack, confused that there was no boss in the shack.
But look, that was 3 hits that he needed.
Okay, now the Crucible Knight, that's the more important one, right? And you can see that when he gets this hit off, his damage is just about double.
Yeah. I mean, that's
maybe even
so
over double. Now he gets the stagger. That means he gets another jump attack, and now he jumps over the face transition. And like, look how much time he saved on just this one particular fight.
Yeah. No, I think the next one is Dane, right? And I think there you can't save that much time with the jump attacks, right? Because NPCs dodge around a little too much. So I feel like oftentimes it's a little frustrating trying to use the jump attacks. So yeah, he's also just going with the regular R1s.
Yeah, what he should be trying to use is this tech where you're doing delayed crouch L1s. They actually stagger the NPCs quite a lot, and the timing on it is really, really good. I'm not sure if he's just unfamiliar with the tech or what the reason was, but either way, he dealt so much damage, it didn't matter as much, right? He was just able to blast Dane. Now Niorra going to Margit's replacement, which you know is Warmface, having a lot tougher of a fight. It's just unfortunate that the RNG on Warmface was not that good for Niorra. So that's even more time loss right now. Pirl absolutely in a prime position to run away with this match, but we'll see what ends up happening as the pace is basically gonna equalize now for both of these players, at least throughout Limgrave.
Yeah, and neither player have found any Deathless halves so far as well. And do you think the extra graces are gonna come into play in this one?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it at the start, right? That it always depends on the pace, because these 2 graces are only used for extra bosses if you run out of bosses already. And so, I mean, the build for Pirl is really good. I think it will depend heavily on if he finds Deathless. Like, if he finds Deathless, I can totally see an extra boss coming from one of those graces. But it will depend. It really needs to be a quick seed for these graces to be relevant. We're talking like 85, 86, which without Deathless is kind of like impossible. You probably get to maybe 84 with a really insane seed. This seed is good, but he doesn't have like a total gold build. He doesn't have multi-hit effects. He doesn't have a claw talisman to stack with the chest piece, stuff like that. So, or I say Pirl specifically right now because he's looted a little bit more.
Yeah, well, not yet. Who knows? Maybe he'll still find it. As Niorra is going to the troll in Limgrave, right? Originally, and Pirl is finding Radan. Base game Radan here at the Urti Avatar. Let's see if he can maybe skip the phase 2.
Yeah, he gets the perfect opening.
Yeah.
Well, one of the perfect openings where the combo is really long. Now he's going to force him to buff up, right? That's when the HP gets to around 60% or so. I mean, now he just needs 2.5 hits and then gets the kill.
Beautifully done, while Niorra is finding Radagon, which also, with these weapons, just very, very nice fight.
Let's jump down from Pirl on that Spirit Spring. The range of it is really, really big. If you land on the top part, you are usually pretty fine. Heading over to this Morn tunnel. After that, he's probably going to take the thread and then go up the Spirit Spring to the 2 night bosses that are there at the southern part of Weeping, at the Rampart. And that's also the Merchant. That's why he's going there right now.
Yeah, I guess they're still gonna do some more item checks and stuff to try to find those few OP things that you talked about, just to elevate their build even more. But I feel like for the most part, they are quite set up, so I don't think they'll go super out of their way anymore.
I mean, they're not going to go out of their way, but there's like still quite a few things that could make them stronger. It's not like they're fishing for just like one thing, right?
Yeah.
For example, finding another weapon that you could put Sacred on would be pretty huge. Obviously, this is Strike against the Ghostland Dragon. That's really, really nice. It's already going to add a lot of damage. But having something like Sacred Order that you could swap to would, you know, make these fights even faster. Especially for something like Dragon Barrow or Altus. Like a Limgrave is not as big of a deal, but later on it could be a big deal. Okay, let's see what happens to Niorra here with 40 sacks. He's approaching from the regular angle, coming from the northern side. Half missing one of his jump attacks. 40 sacks going through the opener. Gonna do the flyback attack. Nice roll.
So far, not falling off the bridge like it did for Pirl.
And big OEs right now. You're having a little bit of trouble hitting all of the hits, which makes sense. It's really difficult to hit 40 sacks as is, and with jump attacks you have even a little bit less control, but it does get a faster fight here.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, I feel like for Pirl it worked out in the end just because he went to patches right after anyway. So he had to go down either way. So yeah. I feel like it kind of worked out even with 40 stacks falling off. But
yeah, he will spend a little bit of extra time, I think, running to the tunnel from first step. But I'm not even sure. Like he used to take the Aguil Lake North Grace at some point, but maybe he just changed the routing as well. So like it worked out, as you said. Yeah, it was actually really, really good. All right, Deathbird replacement in Weeping is going to be Red Wolf.
Wow, that damage. It's beautiful. Yeah, 2 hits and the Red Wolf is a goner, and Pro can move on to the second night boss over here.
Get this extra golden seed. He also picked up the Sacred Tear on the way here.
Very nice. Can you remind me how many flasks players usually end up with, and like?
Usually you have like 6 or something charges, and usually around +3 to +4. However, because the players started with that Sacred Tear keepsake, they will be able to get +1 over their regular strats. The thing with Pirl is that he also, I think he did it in this match too, he got an extra Sacred Tear here in Weeping, next to the Ancient Hero of Zamor Everjail. I'm surprised he didn't decide to skip it, considering he does have that extra Sacred Flask. But yeah, he might end up at like +5, I think.
Welcome the raiders from Mew to you. We're doing the Deathless Randomizer League cast right now. It's Pirl Fresh versus Niorra. Welcome in, everyone.
Hello. Interesting pickup for Pirl at the Merchant. He finds the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana that could, in theory, sometimes be a little bit better. Specific cases, if you need like range or something.
Yeah, there's so many remembrances that they're finding. I feel like in this match, just from the start. I mean, for Pirl from the start, and for Niorra a little later on. But their Vigor bars are definitely nothing to scoff at this point. So I assume they can start leveling some strength as well to be even stronger, and maybe some endurance.
Yeah, definitely. Those are the stats that players are looking at. I think that with this kind of setup, I mean, you probably look into level strength sooner rather than later, and then do a little bit more endurance after that. Especially because there's still a chance that they find Radahn's Great Rune or something. Whenever you find the Great Rune in this format, it is automatically activated, so you just turn it on basically at a grace and then use another rune arc and then can benefit from those effects rather. So obviously Radance gives HP, it gives stamina as well. And so that means you don't necessarily have to level as much endurance.
Yeah, Radance is probably my favorite actually for most runs, just because Morgoth's is also really nice because it gives you so much HP, but I really do like that little bit of extra stamina you get from Radance. Can make a difference between doing one more attack to actually kill the boss before the boss gets to do anything.
Really nice play from Pirl. He does get the 2 jump attacks, makes the phase transition happen for the bear, and then just in time he two-hands his weapon to be able to block it, gets guard broken, but that way he's able to actually finish the boss fight a little bit sooner. At the same time, Niorra clearing out that Demi-Human Queen here in the Earthborn Cave is going to be picking up a couple of these extra items, finds the staff that normally has Shatter and Crystal on it in Night Rain. Cool stuff. Don't think he'll be switching to it anytime soon, though.
Your brain still gets activated from seeing that stuff. Funny. So Pirl now going through this poisonous cave into pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's the smallest boss room in the whole game, right? So it's very low scaled, but it can be a little bit scary just because the boss room is so small. So if you have something scary in there, then you know.
I mean, I honestly can't think of many at the moment, except for like the Deathblight enemies. I think the Deathblight enemies would be still really, really scary, but. And there's Radane's Great Rune. I literally just summoned it, right? So that's why I was saying, like, I don't think you want to commit to a lot of endurance early just in case this happens. You want to level a little bit more strength. And right now, you know, once Pirl finds a second rune arc, or maybe he has one already, he will be able to benefit from that.
Yeah. Very nice. So you think he's gonna activate it as soon as he finds a grace, basically?
I think that you're not gonna go out of your way to activate it because you're not going to benefit from it immediately. But the next time you want to sit down, I think you're going to do it, yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. Oh, Mimic Tier. Always just important to not have a shield with parry in your hand.
And the thing is, this is still going to be a little scary. I mean, the damage for Pirl is really good. But normally players do not equip anything in their right hand so that if they find the Mimic, right, the Mimic is generally kind of confused when you have your weapon only in the left hand. But because they have 2 power stance weapons right now, the Mimic is just chilling, right? And he's actually gonna catch Pirl with that Barbaric Roar R2.
That's actually so scary because the Mimic deals so much damage and it's actually quite tanky because of all the vigor that Pirl has leveled, because the Mimic also scales off of the player's vigor.
Okay, here's the crouch L1 tech, so Pirl does know about it. Trying to use it.
Nice. One more and it's dead. Nicely done. And now the classic Pirl looking at the boss list. What do I still have left? Have I done everything? The signature move.
He's gonna go over to the Stonefoot Catacomb, which is a little peculiar because it's one of those things that is a little slower. It's definitely not the most efficient check to do, especially since he doesn't have a Dectus half. Doing it this early, I think, is a little bit of a waste of time. Now, his pace is good, so he doesn't have to worry about it as much, but I just feel like if you don't have a Dectus half, you don't really need to force this one as early, you know? Usually players end up just checking this one and other, you know, less efficient checks if they do have a Dectus half, because you don't want to miss out on these. Your opponent goes for them and then they get a Dectus, and Dectus is essentially like a 2-boss advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So I guess in games where you don't find Dectus, you would just completely skip this catacomb, and there's probably a lot more checks that are faster.
Yeah, especially, it depends on the pace. Like, if the pace is really good, you're still gonna come back here. But most of the time, if you know you have to go through Precipice, which in this case, if you don't find Dectus, you will have to, because you don't have any graces that lead you to Altus. You want to make sure that you spend the appropriate time in Altus, that you maximize your uptime in Altus so you can clear it. And hey, then if you have some time after, maybe you can come back here, right? It's low scaled, the boss is going to be really fast. But I wouldn't do it this early on.
Interesting. Niorra is approaching this red wolf from a little bit of a different angle, which made him actually aggro the troll that was standing here as well. Well,
one doesn't get the kill. It's a little unfortunate. Fan daggers finish it though. Nice.
Very nice. But I feel like if he avoided that troll, that would have helped him out quite a bit. So a little bit of a routing advantage here from Pirl.
And now Pirl going back to first step so that he can go over to this Limgrave tunnel, and the boss replacing a Gil as well. You know, is Amor.
And Niorra going towards Eska, which, yeah, same for Pirl. Eska straight away very far from his dogs, which makes him a lot less scary, luckily. Also buys the Dragon Hanjo Katana that you pointed out earlier.
Yeah, he bought an extra rune arc as well.
Nice. Kills the dogs first, just to make sure. Because Eska can overwhelm you pretty quickly with the dogs, even when he's pretty low scaled, but the bleed procs can be very scary. I still feel like Pirl has a little bit of an advantage damage-wise. I don't know exactly where it's coming from. Maybe just because Pirl found so many more remembrances even still. And maybe he was able to level a little bit more in strength.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the level is higher for Pirl. At the same time, he does have more stamina. Oh, he has the Radagons equipped. So there's a little bit of a difference in talismans. While Niorra does still have the dagger talisman as well. He's using a shackle here, nicely done. Against these pillars in the Tombsword catacombs.
Because I feel like there was a few bosses where Pirl took almost one hit less to kill the boss, even though I feel like they're pretty similar now in their setup.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an execution thing as well, because for example on the Red Wolf, Niorra was using an R1, right? He was using a roll attack because he missed the one half of his power stance at the start of the fight, so it could be just that as well.
Yeah, Radagon also, I think, took him like 3 hits or something. I think for Niorra it took a tiny bit more, where he even almost transitioned to second phase. Now, Rugalea for Niorra.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, here on Rugalea, like, I feel like in 2 jump attacks, Pirl basically got about 60% of the way through, while for Niorra it was 3 jump attacks, I'm pretty sure. Like, the difference is there, yeah.
Like, it's pretty noticeable, and so there has to be something about the setup that is different. I mean, I guess the talismans.
And I think it's just one talisman that is different at the moment.
Silver tier was giving both players a little bit of a hard time.
Another thing is, I think it's probably because like Niorra has the heavy scaling. You know, he has the heavy scaling on his weapons, and his strength right now is 12. Yeah. So that is definitely a mistake. I mean, he's gonna save a little bit of time not having to change it later, but like he wasted the time already once now, right? And so, yeah, I think changing to heavy right now is just not the play.
Yeah, I guess that would explain it. That would definitely explain it.
Yeah, meanwhile you have standard for both of the hammers that Pirl is wielding, and with the lower stats, that is just gonna be better scaling for now. Because heavy makes, you know, more damage come from scaling and less damage being there flat. And the flat damage is a little bit better right now. You can see it on the Mimic as well, like the damage is just lower. Pirl. Okay, he kills the enemy and then he decides to go for the skip. If he gets it first try, that was a good decision. If he's gonna get stuck here, that was not the play. Gets the first part, misses the second one.
No. Yeah, he laughs as well. He knows that.
Because he got the harder part. Yeah, does get it second try. In the end, that was maybe about equal.
Yeah.
In the end, that was maybe about equal.
And Niorra fighting that same mimic tier that Pirl fought earlier and gets it pretty smoothly here. Again, I feel like the damage was a little bit lower, but yeah. I guess we'll see how much of a difference it makes in the end, right? Oh, is that?
That's a Bofa and a Clean Road Knight.
I almost thought it was Gaius because of the way I thought the Bofa was the boar and the other guy was Gaius on top. That angle.
NA aim from the Clean Road Knight cannot hit the AoE. Obviously, we have to be a little bit more careful now because we have left Limgrave for Pirl. He's in lower Kaelid, Celia Crystal Tunnel. Does go, finishes the kill. And in the end, he does have, both players are rocking this physic tier that heals them when they get too low. Now, the way it works is it doesn't save you from death. So if you take way too much damage, it's not going to heal you up and you're just going to die. But for example, with this boss, you saw there was one attack where you got poked multiple times. It's just going to heal you up and probably save you. So he knew he had that active, knew that he could just keep on going.
Oh, that lightning ball was almost a little scary for Niorra. Those balls can be quite surprising damage, even for a low scale area.
Oh, misses the jump attack, Niorra does. That's just, about 2 seconds gone, just like that. Let's find the Radahn's Great Rune. He bought that extra rune arc, so he will be able to use it. Meanwhile, Pirl still hasn't activated it yet. Maybe he does not have a rune arc for now.
Yeah, Niorra actually activating that rune right away.
Yeah.
So from the start, is going to be able to benefit off of that rune that he found.
Legendary pickup baits Pirl. He's looking for the +10 or the +25 stone, but finds Scarlet Aeonia instead. What's going to be the Nox Duo boss? Death Knight?
That damage is a little underwhelming. I mean, not surprising for this area, but I gets the stagger here. Doesn't get grabbed, that's very good. It's always the worst part about these Death Knights. If you get grabbed, you gotta do it all again.
That's Jar Jar 2 to knock him on the ground. Gets another jump attack right after. That's finished the kill. Nicely done there. Meanwhile, Niorra finishing some other stuff in Limgrave. He's in the Death Touch Catacombs. Actually, in the, Death Touched Catacombs. The one that normally has the damaged Black Knight Assassin. Black Knife, rather, Assassin. Finds the Fell Twins, kills them very quickly, no surprises there, and now we have to wait and see where the path leads him, and it seems like he's gonna go to Liurnia. So he basically can go wherever he wants to at this point, but the reason that Pirl is in Kaelid at this stage is because with his routing, it is way more beneficial to, do the Limgrave Tunnel, and then he has to run out to kill the boss that replaces Agheel, and when he's there already, he goes to the lower Kaelid trap chest, right? So he saves a little bit of time there. Meanwhile, Niorra, he doesn't really have to bother with that because he did it much earlier and used it as a stepping stone progression to like the bridge area where 40 was. The first boss here in Liurnia in Advanced Evergel is actually Fire Giant phase 1. Nice stagger from Niorra. Does allow him to almost, actually kills the boss before phase transition. Nicely done there.
That is very, very nice. So that rolling round can be pretty annoying when Fire Giant goes into the phase transition. Especially if you're a little too close and then he rolls again. Yeah, interesting. So now they're really diverging quite a lot, right? Niorra is first doing some Leonia, while Pirl decided to go into Kaelid first. Finds Margit here.
Margit stalling a little bit. Niorra found the Deathless half in that Evergel.
Oh.
That's a check that both players are obviously going to do, so Not gonna be missed out on by Pirl, but it might change the dynamic a little bit if they don't find Deathless in the conventional checks that players always do. They might go for some extra ones. We already saw one from Pirl with that Stormfoot Catacomb. And as I said earlier, the winner's bracket match that Niorra lost, he lost it mostly because he just fished for Deathless for a little too long.
Oh, interesting.
I did mention that at the start of the match as well. Jagged Peak Drake, this is going to be another relatively tanky enemy for Pirl. As Dragonkin Soldier is on the right side of your screen for Niorra. It's stuck behind the leg immediately. Also quite a tanky enemy, actually. Yeah, he has to deal with the AoE, he doesn't realize it, tries to go for a jump attack, gets blasted again. You have to make sure that he heals up. And for example, here, first Dragonmoon Grease, really, really nice.
Oh, Niorra got hit there in a way that procced his physics. So that was a really scary moment.
He giga panic rolled there as well, the next attack. Luckily, he did hit the window. He does get the kill.
That was a close call. That could have been a death very easily.
Yeah, you can tell that he did not expect that because his heart rate didn't even elevate. Right? Like, you do not expect to have trouble with the Dragonkin Soldier necessarily, but maybe a little bit of unfamiliarity with the boss or with the moveset on this particular boss.
Yeah, or just not respecting it, right? Because oftentimes you do kind of blast through them very quickly, you get a stagger, and maybe just didn't respect how he was also in the terrain. A little bit a scary sandwich between the boss and the wall.
Dance of Rana. No chill for Niorra as well as Pirl in the meantime. Managed to use the Dragonmoon Grease to really quickly kill the Jagged Peak Drake. It's another thing why the Great Hammers are good, as Pirl is now executing the skip. First part done really nicely. The great thing about Great Hammers is that bosses that are like the dragons, where they can kind of fly away and bother you with just bad RNG attacks, the extra points allows you to get a stagger sooner, which means that usually you are able to actually kill them off because the damage is still really, really good. You get a fast stagger, and then you get headshots, maybe a riposte if needed, and the boss does not really have a chance to troll you too much. So it's really nicely done. This entire Kaelid part has been really, really well done so far by Pirl on the left side. And now he's not sure exactly how to handle a Lightning Ball. Lightning Ball is just kind of chilling.
Yeah, but understandable. I mean, I mentioned earlier how scary those lightning balls can be, right? Even at lower scaling, they can take out your whole health bar faster than you expect. Always better to respect it than not. And here's a Tibia Mariner. Pretty chill boss here. Very, very quick one for Niorra, so you can move on to the next one.
And Niorra. Yeah, same Tibia Mariner at the same time. And Niorra finishing the Deathless halves, actually. Here at the Laskiar chain, interestingly enough. And he also didn't do the Eastern Liurnia routing. I don't think he went to Church of Vows, so we'll be missing out on a boss there potentially, which might be a little bit detrimental simply because the pace is really, really good, all things considered. Like, the build is really good. For Niorra, I mean, the pace isn't as good as it was for Pirl, of course, because Pirl had such an elevated start in terms of damage and count. But yeah, those Deathless halves are in a place where Pirl will definitely find them, which means that both players will have access to Altus through the Deathless elevator.
Yeah, but maybe this way it's gonna come into play what you said earlier, right? Pirl did that one catacomb that you said is usually more a catacomb that you would do to fish for the Deathless medallion. Niorra found the Deathless medallion halves so early, so he can definitely skip that catacomb and just go for quicker checks, right? While Pirl is still hasn't found either of the halves, and he doesn't know that it's in places where he's definitely gonna find it, right? So maybe he'll do another a little bit lengthier check, just thinking of checking for the Deathless medallion, and maybe that's gonna bite him later on.
Yeah, that definitely could happen. I don't think it will necessarily. I think that he always goes for the Stormfoot Catacomb.
Fair.
Like, it wasn't really something out of the ordinary for him. But like, he's definitely gonna do Liurnia before he does some crazy plays, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's a mistake, but at the same time, because his pace is good and he will find Dictus, he probably would have had time for that Catacomb anyway at the end of the match, right? Depending on how Altus goes, but yeah. Also interesting, neither player going for early Dragon Barrow, not want to risk it. Obviously, their tournament life is on the line here. They're in the lower bracket, which means that whoever loses today will be out. Whoever wins will be facing Rumbler in the next round. So both players being a little bit cautious on that front. It's a little surprising though, because their build is good. They do have good power. They could definitely check Dragon Barrow a little bit earlier. Oh my god, Niorra actually finding all the Talisman halves. He found the Deathless 1, Deathless 2, and in back-to-back bosses, he found Halic Tree half and Halic Tree half as well. So, like, he literally collected all the key items.
Beautiful.
Happy with his collection. He leaves Liurnia and is gonna head over to the lower Kaelid part now as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, importantly, though, he can't really go back to Round Table now, right? So if he finds the 25 stone, he would have to upgrade it at EG, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be weird if he does do that chain and then finds a 25 stone after that. I wonder if, you know, the choice here will basically be to just delay the Deathrite Bird replacement and the Royal Revenant chain so that you can go and do it if you do actually find that extra upgrade, because that would definitely be worth it. But at the same time, if, you know, you find the extra upgrade much later, it's probably not worth it to take the extra time to upgrade. So we'll see.
That makes sense, yeah.
Alright, D1B's Dancing Lion here with the Death Blight. I mean, this is another fight where Pirl is gonna save so much time. I mean, he needs just one more attack.
Okay.
Like, there's...
I just thought it was a little interesting because Niorra almost killed the Deathless Lion before he could even try to transition, right?
Yeah, because of the stagger, though, right?
Yeah,
like, he basically staggered. He got an attack during which he dealt extra damage because the Dancing Lion should have transitioned at that point. And then he got the stagger, extra damage with that, hit after the stagger, and that's why he was so low. But the insane amount of damage that Pirl was able to dish out, you know, not really a big deal in terms of not getting that overkill.
Mm-hmm.
And now Pirl heading over to Liurnia as well. So both players basically just, like I said, swapping Kaelid and Liurnia between one another.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start with Stillwater Cave. This one can be a little scary still. There's a lot of enemies here, which increases the chances of something cursed being there. Don't want to usually get thrown to the bottom here, into the poison pit. As Niorra picks up a 30th kill, puts it on the board. We'll be entering the lower Kaelid part.
Very nice. Yeah, it's interesting because they're both still very close to each other in score, right? And of course that doesn't necessarily mean that much because they had pretty different routing decisions that they made. So Pirl has killed some higher scaled bosses already that are gonna just take a little bit more time than the bosses that Niorra killed. But it's still interesting, even with the build advantage that Pirl had from the start, that it's still such a close match.
I think what's important is that he did do that Stonefoot Catacomb, which is the less efficient check. And he basically is in the lead, and he did that as well. So in theory, if Niorra has to go there, you know, a little later on because of how the time works out and stuff, like, it's very clear that Pirl is in the lead at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously not insanely in the lead, but he did do a less efficient check right now, and he's still in the lead despite it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pirl is also about to find the first half of the Dectus medallion after he's going to be killing the Adana placement, while Niorra battling the Death Knight.
Pirl getting the stagger here a little bit too early, however, his damage, and nice also aim with the jump attacks there, is That combination is just enough to get the kill. For the phase transition, very good. Lakeside Crystal Cave now going to be the next place of destination, probably. Judging by the angle that Pirl is taking. But at the same time, it could also be the fact that he just wants to avoid the Colossal Finger Creeper, and he'll actually head over to the Laskyar chain, where he will find the second Nectar's half. And then the interesting part is also, like, are you going to go to Church of Vows or not? Because Niorra chose not to do that. He's actually going to go for just the the western Niorra routing, where he's going to have to go around Ichi anyways at some point. So when I was talking about leaving it for later, he can't really do that because he needs to get to the Deathless lift. And we'll have to do it around Ichi. You can probably refresh.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll just refresh both of them to make sure.
Sounds good.
I don't know why it switches to auto again now.
Yeah, it's weird.
Alright. Should be all good now.
Yeah, another thing is that Pirl, obviously, I always say we go by in-game time to minimize any sort of discrepancies in hardware, but Pirl's timer is about 27 seconds behind, which means he has 27 more seconds for the match itself. So that's another further advantage that Pirl has. And I think that Niorra, like, his damage here was also worse. Like, Niorra having the heavy scaling is just making such a big difference right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's not playing with Radagons, I can understand because, you know, Radagons normally gives you, the Source Seal gives you extra vigor. And up to a certain point, quite high amount of vigor, the extra vigor will outweigh the extra damage that you take as a downside from the Talisman. And once you get past that, you will be taking more damage than the vigor offsets, right? However, it also gives you some extra stats, and those extra stats would count towards his heavy scaling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And Pirl is using it. Of course, he's still rocking standard, but he is using it, and that gives him a little bit of extra damage, too.
Yeah, of course, he also takes a little bit more damage. But, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't really gotten into too many scary situations. Yeah. He's fighting the Dancer now. Dancer can be super annoying with all the hopping around, but
yeah, that's where the poise comes into play. The fact that he's able to equip, he also, you know, already activated Ran's Great Rune. He's able to equip a lot of armor so that his poise is a little bit higher and he doesn't get staggered by every single small attack. Yeah, and now Niorra going to be wasting time on his Jagged Peak Drake as well because he wasn't able to finish the fight during the stagger. I don't think he's using the Dragonmoon Grease and his lower damage, as we've said quite a few times already, losing him even a little bit more time. And now we have more divergence in routing. I like what Pirl is doing. The pace is good. You have Dectus, so you know that you will have a lot of time for Altus. Getting this extra boss at Church of Vows, I think is a smart play. He's heading over to Miriel, and then from Miriel, he will be doing a little bit of parkour to get to the Mausoleum compound, and then from there, he can head over to the northeastern Leonian part with Black Knife Catacombs, and also to the Bellum Highway with the Knights Cavalry.
Sounds good. Very nice plan that he has. While Niorra is gonna go to the Slippery Branch, that is always a little scary, but
yeah, his game lagging. This is an inopportune moment for it.
Yeah, that's so bad. But he got the first landing, second landing is the last scary part, but he does it very smoothly, very quickly, trusts himself clearly, and yeah, very nicely done. Now, nice turtle dialogue. So when would you go into altars first?
At like 125. Usually.
Interesting. So you actually have even a time where you're like, okay.
Oh, well, you want to make sure that that you have sufficient time to get Altus done, and the more that you can delay it, the technically more power you collect in the lower scaled areas, so that you can go ahead and blast. The thing is that neither player has done Dragon Barrow, as we have pointed out before, which means that you should probably go to Altus a little bit sooner than that, simply because Dragon Barrow is still left. you have no idea what's waiting for you there. I don't even know if Pirl has gone to the third Church of Marika just yet. Like, I'm not exactly sure.
I think he didn't loot the graveyards. I might be wrong, but
yeah, he
I
has
feel
the
like...
Summon Water. I know he has the Summon Water Grace, the Summon Water Village. I think that's where he left off. He took the Grace, and that's it. So he'll be able to come back for sure, but yeah, no early scouting or anything like that. We saw that from Engsmaster yesterday, who basically went into Dragon Barrow just to see what bosses are waiting there. Yeah, neither player going for that at the moment. We're doing a safer drop here. Get down to the Deathrite Bird replacement. This is quite a bit of time, but obviously, because it is safer, you do not risk a death.
Yeah, I mean...
and now Pirl going for this parkour. Nice first jump.
Nice.
And nicely done.
Got it. Yeah, it's Godskin Duel here at the Deathrite Bird replacement. A little annoying.
The jump actually went over the fireball. That was pretty sick.
That was beautifully done. Very calculated, of course. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, he rolled at the wrong time as well after getting clipped there. Rolled a little too soon, got hit by the jump attack. Now he's having a little bit of trouble finding an opening with the Godskin Apostle.
Yeah.
More parkour on the left side as well. For Pirl, who's now heading over to the Bellum Highway. I mean, he's practiced his routing, you can tell. Nicely done there.
Yeah, Niorra is now hopefully on the last part of this boss. Nice. Oh, Elden Beast.
Elden Beast is gonna go down fairly quickly, I would think, with this build.
Yeah, that damage is quite good. If he gets a stagger, I feel like it's fine. If he doesn't get a stagger, that's gonna be an annoying
The big
fight.
question is, did he deal enough damage to get the ring? And he did, yeah, so... Now he has to deal with the ring as well. I mean, the main thing here is trying to skip the triple rings. Obviously, none of the poise is gonna be there. He's not using Torrent either. That doesn't really matter. But he does take a little bit of a beating. He's making sure to heal up right now. Elden Beast with a little bit of stalling. I don't understand how that roll wasn't too early, but...
He's just missing some of these attacks that would be crucial to get the stagger and make Elden Beast stop doing all these annoying moves.
Yep, exactly. Despite having the Great Hammers, I mean, he just wasn't able to get the stagger at the start, but now he should be able to get it, hopefully, with one more jump attack. There's the stagger. Some stars are out, but it doesn't matter. The boss is dead.
Very good.
And now with all this extra running that Pirl has done, the score has finally shifted for the first time. 37-38 right now. Niorra in the lead as he's heading over to Bellum Highway at around the same time. But as I said, he will be down that Church of WoW's boss.
Did I see that he took the Grace at EG?
I'm not sure. I don't think he did.
Yeah, maybe I...
Oh, Pirl gonna be checking a merchant as well. That's a little bit of extra time loss.
But would you ever take that Grace just in case you get the 25 stone?
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think he should have done it.
He did take it, yeah.
Okay, he did? Okay.
Yeah, I thought I saw that, yeah. Because I felt like that's pretty smart, because if you do get that 25 stone, since he does have the Halictree medallions, he doesn't want to go back to Round Table, right? So that way he can upgrade still.
Pirl finding the Anvil, the DLC weapon, and the Merchant, and now also finding another DLC boss, this time the Ghostland Dragon, for the second time. This one gonna be a little bit tankier, not in Limgrave anymore. And Niorra's gonna check this Merchant as well, but for him it's on the way, so it's not necessarily extra time loss. I still think that Pirl's routing here just makes a lot more sense. Ghostland Dragon gonna now finally follow Pirl. And this is where he's gonna be looking for a stagger as soon as possible, basically. So far the RNG is looking pretty good. Stagger is there.
Nice.
Now he needs to get over the wing and try to get as many headshots as possible. He's trying to get the riposte, but not successful in that endeavor. Niorra having so far, oh man, he's actually getting insanely good RNG. He gets the 3 hits at the start, and because there are no rings but instead an attack, he's able to just get the instant stagger.
That was very nice. I mean, that is a fight where finally Niorra is saving quite a lot of time over Pirl. I feel like the whole match has been Pirl saving time over Niorra, but now the roles are reversed, and maybe that's gonna make a big difference in the end.
Yeah, that was a... Like, I want to say that, you know, I hate to see one player getting such better RNG than the other, but Niorra has had a little bit of tough luck, especially at the start of the match. So I think fortune finally swinging in his favor a little bit is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, and just think about the RNG for Wormface for Pirl. He got the perfect opening attack there, while Niorra had to deal with the annoying Deathblight cloud around him. So I think maybe it's actually fair in the end.
I don't think that evened out. I think that Elden Beast fight saved a little bit more, but...
Probably.
Black Knife Catacombs now for Pirl. These ones are scary. We've seen a lot of players die here. He's using the Barbaric Roar. That's another thing as well. Like, he does keep on using the Barbaric Roar, while Niorra just put it off his weapon, right? Niorra's pathing also not up to speed. Does get Madness proc'd here. But yeah, because Pirl does have the Barbaric Roar, he does get extra DPS from that as well. Pirl even switched away from Radagons for this particular Catacomb. Because we've seen players die here, getting, you know, cleavered, getting stuck in a corner. You always have to wait for that guillotine, so gonna just run away from enemies. Astel gonna get staggered in 3 jump attacks, killed very quickly. Now Niorra following Pirl as the score ties up again, 39-39. Muslim Dragon for Niorra as well. Let's get the Scream, looking to get the stagger here. Does so successfully. Trying to, yeah, he positions really nicely. He doesn't go around to try and like get the riposte or anything. Just gets the jump attacks in from the inside. Yeah. And a really, really fast fight for him as well.
Yeah, I think here also Niorra's fight slightly faster than
quite a
Pirl's.
Bit, actually, yeah, because Pirl had to wait for the dragon.
And what is the second boss in here? It's just a Clean Rot Knight. That is something that you like to see. Just 2 jump attacks and he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, it means that this easy boss is not going to be later in the match, though, right? So
that's also true.
Yeah, who knows what's going to be awaiting us in Altus.
Malenia.
Pirl is now finishing up more Liurnia stuff. Either player has been to Upper Kaled so far. That's definitely something that they will look to do as well. Hippo opening with the grab attack. I mean, Hippo being a Smaragd, I didn't really mention it when Niorra was fighting him, but since Smaragd is the highest skilled enemy that you'll encounter in Liurnia, having Hippo here is kind of unlucky in that sense.
Yeah. Oh, Niorra having a little bit of a hard time here with the guillotines. He gets actually hit by one. That's super scary because those guillotines...
Oh, there's Deathblight.
That Deathblight is following
him. He's just standing in it again.
The Deathblight really likes him.
I'm not sure exactly what happened there. If the soldier just interrupted or if he missed the one cycle.
He missed the one cycle first, and then he stood on top of the guillotine, and the soldier stabbed him off.
I see.
Then he basically tried to kill the soldier, but was underneath the guillotine at the same time, so...
SRNG doesn't get the stagger just yet, but he doesn't need it. It's the kill instead. Now, 2 of these DLC enemies. Gotta be careful there. That was the shotgun move.
And those can be really scary, right?
Yeah. Luckily, he realized what was happening and moved away from the enemies. Tried a Memory of Grace, does not get interrupted by the Vulgar Militiaman, so that's to peace out. And I'm curious how his Clean Rot Knight damage is gonna be. If he does get it in 2 hits or no. Because it was like perfect 2 hits basically for Pirl.
The Misbegotten Crusader also just getting completely annihilated. Alright, now for the Clean Red Knight.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same damage here.
Oh,
well, it's
but he blocks, yeah.
Unfortunate RNG, but I mean, now that Niorra, you know, once he starts collecting more money and he starts pumping more strength, like his damage should get better than what Pirl has. I'm not sure if Pirl. I mean, Pirl is using the roars though at the same time, which give you like 10% extra damage. So it's also like kind of evening out in a way. Now Niorra gonna be heading over to Deathless. The lift itself. I don't think he's done the southwestern part of Liurnia yet.
No, I don't think so either.
He's leaving it for later. I mean, makes sense in a way. Getting to Altus early, getting some scouting. Like, you'll have to do this eventually, so just getting a Grace in Altus does not really cost you anything. You can see what the first boss is. While Pirl is gonna go exactly for that play right now.
For the southern
The
Liurnia
southwest,
one, yeah. Nice, so I guess we'll see what bosses wait there and see a little bit of Altus. Maybe there's gonna be all the very difficult bosses awaiting now since we've had a few Clean Red Knights. But I feel like we haven't had any Knights cavalries yet. There's probably still 50 of them waiting.
Yeah, there's been at least one I do remember, but
yeah.
And that was actually it was only for Pirl because it was at Church of Bows.
Oh, I see.
Black Knight from the DLC. Edred gonna be the next enemy for Pirl. As Niorra's making his way over to the Gillica replacement. That one's very low scale. The arena is a little annoying. Nice stagger on the left side. Interrupts the jump attack. And now going for the top L1s as well. Or crouch L1s rather.
Nicely done. And in Gillica's arena... Oh, it's a duo fight. And because this arena is a little, I was gonna say it's a little scary because the arena is so small, but well, actually, even though
now he's cornered.
He's cornered, yeah.
He pressed an attack by accident there. Does get a heal off. Importantly so. Needs just one more jump attack on the Crystallion. Keeps it together.
Yeah, that was scary. I was gonna say that the Crystallion takes so much damage that it's not that bad, but then yeah, getting cornered, even though he takes so much damage, if you can't kill him, it can get scary really quickly, especially with the Crucible Knights, because they really don't leave you alone. Right, the Crystallion luckily is pretty passive in the duo and trio fights, but the Crucible Knight not so much.
I mean, for Niorra, he wanted to obviously kill the Crystallion as fast as possible, so he engaged the Crystallion at the start of the fight where the Crystallions are actually programmed to attack, so that's why he was getting blasted by both the bosses at the same time. I also see a question if it would be better to maybe have lightning or cold or something on the weapons. That's something that could work early on because the flat extra damage that you get from those elements can be better than standard. The problem is that the later you get into the game and the more scaling you have, the flat extra damage is also split, right? It's split between different elements, and the way damage negation works in Elden Ring, it generally punishes that. And so it is way better to just have heavy. Like, as soon as you get to higher strength levels, you want to have heavy if possible. I do wonder what the play... I'm pretty sure Troll's Roar was already found by Pirl, so like he can definitely get at least one of his hammers heavy. Like, I'm fairly certain of that. So we'll see when he decides to do that. He's doing a slightly different drop here to get to the Deathrite Bird replacement. As in the meantime, Niorra beat Elemer's ass at the Tibia Mariner.
Yeah, we're very nicely done. Tibia Mariner, one of the highest skilled enemies in Altus, right? Together with Lanciax. So it can be a little scary, but Niorra did it very cleanly and now doing a pretty scary skip, right?
I mean, not really. It can get a little finicky, but I think by now people have kind of figured out exactly what the best way to do it is.
Fair. I guess hopping off torrent is usually how they make sure, right?
Safe, yeah. It's the safest way of doing it.
Godskin duel almost down for Pirl.
I can see he's like applying the roar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very regularly.
Yeah, he does it from both weapons. I don't know if it's the same roar. I don't know if it stacks. I highly doubt it. But either way, I mean, it's good. It's been working for him so far. Stamina Talisman picked up by Niorra in the Sage's Cave.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like Pirl also uses it a lot just when he has downtime anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's very smart when he has to wait for the boss to spawn either way. So if you stand still or you just buff yourself up, I mean, I think it's pretty clear which choice is the better one.
Mm-hmm.
Is the dual cave for Niorra, another not Crucible Knight, but Bellbearing Hunter. And this cave can be a little bit scary because it's a double boss, of course. So if the first boss doesn't go super well, the second one is very terrifying. But Niorra got the stagger pretty early on and should be finishing off this boss momentarily.
Yeah, he's playing it safe. He does heal up.
Yeah.
This is where the extra Sacred Tear comes into play. I mean, his flask, he has 7 charges. +5, doesn't have to heal as many times, so he gets to keep a lot of resources for the next fight as well.
Mm-hmm. And I like that he went to full health before the next fight. Just make sure that you're really prepared for whatever waits here, because it could be something chill, could be something not so good. It's a Death Knight, which I guess that depends on your own knowledge. Oh, he actually has Frost on the weapon.
Yeah, he has the
Chilling Mist.
Chilling Mist, Ash of War, exactly. Which is nice because that way you get to keep your heavy affinity and you have Frost on your weapon as well.
Yeah.
Which, you know, early on does not matter as much. Because usually the bosses will die before a Frost proc occurs, but in Altus or Dragon Barrow it can definitely be useful. If the boss survives long enough, you are gonna proc the Frost, you're gonna deal the percentage-based damage, which again is more relevant in areas where bosses have more health, and you're gonna deal extra damage to them for the next 30 seconds as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is very nice.
Okay, Pirl now, 47 to 46, heading over into Altus. Pirl obviously doing a bunch of stuff earlier before entering Altus compared to Niorra, but he's still there on a really nice time, 114. That means he will have plenty of time to finish just about everything here in Altus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like Pearl is also going with the same routing of going towards Gillica first. And then probably also going to go towards the Tibia Mariner. I always think it's Estelle there. Somehow I have, in my randomizer seeds, I have Estelle there so many times, and it's so bad there because it's highly scaled that for me, in randomizer, it's like the Estelle check.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you died there in Randocalypse, no?
Yeah, maybe that just traumatized me forever.
A double fight here again for Pirl, who's gonna be able to use a guard counter there. Nicely done. Two-hands his weapon, blocks the Crystallion, guard counters him, gets the kill.
Mm-hmm.
Much more chill of an experience here. Ordovis perfectly stops blocking at exactly the time that Pirl needed it as well. Miranda Flower in the Altus tunnel, in the old Altus tunnel.
Yeah, Niorra tried to use the explosive clumps against the flower to explode the barrels and kill the boss. And against the flower, that would have been amazing, right? Because it's weak to fire. So I think the explosive barrels really would have done an amazing job at killing that boss. But sadly, it was too far away from the barrels, so it didn't do anything.
What's interesting is that there are barrels behind, and there are some barrels on the left side as well, and he didn't explode those. So maybe those would have been close enough. I'm not sure. He did get poisoned in the midst of that fight because of all the small flowers there. So this is again where having that, you know, powerful flask comes into play. He'll be able to just heal up using one charge before the boss fight.
Yeah, luckily poison damage is not as bad as rot damage. So you should be able to just make your way through while being poisoned, but it can still be a little scary if you're fighting something and you take a hit and the poison ticks at the same time, and all of a sudden you're almost dead.
Yeah, it puts extra pressure on you, right?
Mm.
Like normally, if you're low, you get to heal on your terms. You decide basically when you try to heal, but here you will have an active timer running, which is
Yeah.
not great.
There's Grang here.
And trying to play very aggressively there, misses everything at the start because Grang didn't let him attack. Stagger should be very soon. Yeah, Niorra knows it as well, so he does just go for the kill there.
Yeah. That was a little bit scary with the poison, you know, one more hit and it would have been really, really bad territory with his health, but he played it well.
I think
Knew he
calculated
was,
risk.
yeah.
I mean, Niorra knows generally what he can afford to do and not.
Yeah.
Like we saw him heal against the Bell-bearing Hunter, for example, right, in Sage's Cave. He knew that here he could do without healing and just heal on Torrent after the fight. Speaking of the Bell-bearing Hunter, that is now where Pirl finds himself. He's just kind of face tanking the opening attack, gets a really fast stagger, goes for the riposte as well. I was gonna have to wait a little bit, and yeah, that was a really clean fight.
Awesome.
Definitely saved time on that boss specifically.
Niorra going towards the usual apostle up in the windmill village.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a little bit scary with all the enemies on the way, but hopefully no untouchables.
April again using the one-handed charge R2 to knock the Death Knight on the ground and get a jump attack for free after that. In water, just taking the light. He's actually standing outside of water there, just barely. Lightning doesn't deal as much damage. Well, that's Cavalry will be the next boss. Finished for Niorra. Pirl now 50 is the score. Big 5-0. Niorra needs one more for that.
Yeah, I was telling you there was 50 more Knights Cavalries waiting, and ever since I said that, we saw 2. So. Yeah, let's see what, I mean, Niorra has a little bit of running to do now to see what his 50th boss is gonna be, while Pirl is fighting the bell-bearing hunter Elmer that we saw Niorra take down earlier.
This guy, obviously, you can tell how much tankier he is than the Sage's Cave version.
Yeah.
Now, finally, it does get the stagger, goes for the backstab as well. So he has a little bit of more time to go for the jump attacks. Crouches under that swing because of the jump attack. Unlucky there. Unfortunate for Pirl, yeah, Elmer is doing a lot of the red stuff you usually don't want to see. It forces you to run away, but nicely strafed. Recovers stamina in the meantime, doesn't have to roll as many times, which means after the jump attack, you know, he gets to keep enough stamina to also roll. It's as safe as you can basically get while attacking like this.
I guess we'll also see if maybe Pirl is gonna get the explosive barrels for the flower. Maybe he will attack some of the other barrels. Looks like someone's trying to talk to him. Just lifted off his headset.
And you're right. Is he gonna check the merchant? Probably, because there's a lot of stuff that could potentially be there. He does find a colossal. There's Godfrey's axe. Not gonna be the choice. I mean, his setup is good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Colossals, just because they take so much stamina, I feel like the setup that they have right now is already quite nice.
Yeah, the problem with Godfrey's axe is that it is a colossal, which is somber, so you can't actually put heavy on that, right? That's one of the problems.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Niorra deciding to not go for the boss yet, so we still haven't found out which will be his 50th. I assume it's going to be the night boss here. Which is a...
Oh, 9 is the
Yeah,
bottom,
9, yeah.
yeah. And he made it nighttime to ensure that all of the enemies do not actually spawn, the ones that are patrolling. Yeah, the barrels are definitely way too far.
Yeah, I think
Left
all of
and
them.
right. And Pirl recognizes it immediately, doesn't even try.
Mm-hmm.
Instead just keeps on hammering on the boss, quite literally. Stagger already. Also is gonna avoid, not the hit, but he's gonna avoid the poison.
Yeah, very good. So that's gonna take some of the pressure off later on when he probably gonna go fight Gurang as well, right? Like I guess that's usually the routing that the players take.
Definitely. Niorra heading over to Godfrey's Everjail. 2 more Stone Sword Keys are gonna be consumed over here. Do unsightly. Neither player going for unsightly catacombs, so either they don't have the Stone Sword Keys or it's just not really worth their time at the moment. Those can be sometimes a little tanky. We'll see what Niorra finds, simply because Godfrey is quite tanky as well. He finds Rykard. Gonna have to instantly swap to a Serpent Hunter. His menuing now being challenged. He swaps to a shield as well. I mean, this is the most efficient way of dealing damage. His shield pokes. He did try his damage as well with the regular weapons, which I think is smart, because yesterday we actually saw the Great Axes outperform the Serpent Hunter.
Oh.
And because of it, loser that is, he also got more staggers, right? Because you deal more poison with the power stance. And so he was able to specifically headshot Rykard as well and just outperform the Serpent Hunter, really, or be about equal.
That's nice, yeah. But I guess in this case, the Serpent Hunter just does the job, you know.
Aggressive play rather from Pirl as well. Get the Beast Clergyman down rather quickly. Now Niorra has to wait a long time for the Serpent to die anyway, so that's the perfect time to actually re-equip his weapon. And now he's heading back to the Merchant as well.
Which boss is it going to be? He actually activated the lantern.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about.
I don't know. Maybe he's just a little worried because it's dark. But it's actually just a bell-bearing hunter, so just like the original.
Very true. Nice riposte as well. Times the jump attack perfectly, gets the kill. Now we're gonna head over to the Deathrite Bird replacement. That one can be a little tricky. There's a lot of enemies around. We've seen players approach it with different attitudes. Sometimes we have seen players just kind of go and smash everything that is there. And was that a kill assist?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
From the random demi-human
I think
queen?
so.
Yeah.
Actually, now that you said, I was like, great, that was a lot of damage all of a sudden that he dealt. But yeah, I guess it was just the demi-human queen that finished off the bird.
I'm pretty sure the demi-human queen just blasted the Deathrite Bird as well.
I mean, I thought that was a little worrying, that queen being there, right? But I guess it was for the best.
Team Pirl. Yeah, she's on Team Pirl. I mean, that's just one demi-human queen in the entire game like that. That's not a boss, right? The one from Meeping.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but it's the only one I can think of.
I mean, she also had the magic, so it is probably exactly that one, right? Because she has that magic stuff.
Yeah, demi-human with the assist. Very funny. I mean, the damage that Pirl had was insane anyways.
Yeah.
And now Pirl leveling a lot of strength, and he is... Yeah, I mean, he's just making his one of his weapons heavy. The other one doesn't have the Ash of War for it. He does have the Troll's Roar. He put it on the Brickhammer, and so he knew the entire time what he was doing. Like, he kept it standard on purpose. It wasn't the fact that he was missing an Ash of War or something like that. He wasn't leveling for a long time. He had 409,000 right there for that level, so he managed to get over 40 strength. Very, very good. Niorra, in the meantime, I was saying that there are players with different attitudes toward that specific boss fight. Some people just run in there, some people bait it out. He baited the boss out, got the kill despite a crow being there from Kaled, and now he's facing another scary boss, Gaius, not giving him a break right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Niorra missing one of the rolls. Now he's probably gonna get charged at. There it is. Just takes it to the face as well.
Yeah, that's really rough. Only 3 heals left now. He's panic rolling a little bit. It doesn't seem 100% comfortable trying to find the groove with his fight. But
yeah, he keeps on rolling that combo, that
yeah.
specific combo wrong. You can even jump over one of those attacks. Does find the stagger for himself though. Does get a good riposte. This will force out the phase transition, which means he can probably get another hit off. He's trying to use the chilling mist as well. Simply outruns the phase transition. Does get a frost proc as well. Huge stuff. Now he's back to full, and 2 more flasks should hopefully be enough for this. Nice roll there, and does get the kill in the end. But it took a long time before he was even able to touch the boss in that one.
Yeah, it seemed like he was just a little nervous, maybe, in that fight. Maybe he's not 100% comfortable with the moveset, and so he couldn't really find the start to it. And once he found the start, he pulled it off. But yeah, sometimes it's just really scary when you have a few hits in already, you need to heal, and then while you're healing, you take another hit, and hard to get out of that hit-heal loop, yeah. And so once he escaped it, he did it well.
Yeah, especially with Gaius. Gaius like specifically has timings that kind of punish you. Most of the time you can get 1 heal off, but he's built in such a way that he always punishes double heals. It's crazy because it's like an extra second to heal again, and yeah, it does make a big difference there. But also Chicken Merchant does not really find anything.
Yeah, Niorra going to Lanciax now, which is the highest scaled boss in all of Altus, right? Together, or is
probably
it
go
similar?
to the. That's correct, but he's probably gonna go to the Black Knife Assassin first.
Oh, okay.
What's interesting is that Pirl has already done Warm Face, so he will be going for that Rampart side skip to get to the Crystallian Tunnel. Meanwhile, Niorra has not done the Warm Face replacement, which we know is Deathbird or Deathbird. So he'll probably do it as part of a chain. So there will be a little bit of a risky skip at some point for Pirl, which doesn't save that much time. And if you die, I mean, even though you've been playing really, really well, and even though you have been in the lead and still are, it could cost you your life. So that will be a little bit of a scary moment for Pirl until that skip is done. Nice Commander O'Neill fight. For Niorra does not let the summons even really spawn or do anything. Fun daggers here being used same way that Niorra did it, exactly the same approach. We're also gonna clear out the enemy that's behind him.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. The Crucible Knight though, Silveria is sick of waiting around for Pirl to fight her.
Duelist replaces Lanciax in the meantime on the right side. Power stance the hammer fight. A mirror match.
Yeah. That's definitely a boss that you like to see here, though. It's a little bit of a squishier one, so the high scaling is not going to be that much of a problem.
A nice Frost proc as well. Killing Mist actually coming into play on 2 bosses now. We'll see how Pirl handles the DTS replacement Gaius right now. As we are approaching 90 minutes in this matchup. Still deathless. 57 to 56 is the score. A little bit of extra time again left for Pirl. He's actually about 35 seconds ahead at the moment, in the sense that his time is behind. So he does have a little bit of extra time. Those 35 seconds could either mean an extra boss sometimes. It could also mean just killing the last boss a little bit sooner.
And Niorra got to 50 strength now. The strength scaling really being online.
Yeah, it's another thing about power stancing is because you do not two-hand your weapon, you do not get that extra 50%, as we have mentioned a while ago. But that also means you can kind of, like, you do not cap out as early, so you can keep on leveling more strength, basically, right? Because the strength scaling is going to be one-handed for both weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, Pirl also having a little bit of difficulty here.
Yeah, he almost rolled too early there.
Maybe it's the nerves, maybe just hasn't fought this boss in a little bit.
And also just fighting it with this moveset can be a little bit different than the way you normally do it, right? But he does get the kill in the end. Gonna be finishing it up with the riposte. Matt Pumpkin on the right side. One can be a little tricky simply because of the helmets. The power stance L1 is always vertical, so you do bonk the helmet quite a few times. Both players right now definitely calm and collected. I mean, 130 BPM for Niorra, but
yeah, it's
hasn't
a
really
calm
made any mistakes.
BPM. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's the dual monks and a troll. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, one of the monks from one of the Nox duo enemies did aggro, but luckily for Niorra, he was able to get the kill in before the troll itself aggroed. So troll obviously also weak to strike, so the damage is very, very good. And the one that aggroed is also the Nox, the dagger, not the dagger, but the
flowing sword, yeah.
Yeah, flowing sword priestess, which is generally the more annoying one.
Oh, it's Riker times 2, part 2.
Yeah, and here's the sequel. He's not going to be switching to the Serpent Hunter because to offset the fact that you are not guaranteed a Serpent Hunter, Rykard in the open world is quite squishy, so obviously you can see that the damage is much greater than it was inside of the dungeon that we saw.
Very nice. I feel like it was even good for him that priestess aggroed before the troll, and so that he completely avoided fighting any boss at the same time, right? So could really fight one after the other.
Yeah, the kill was so quick that the troll basically roared and then just died. And now Pirl is tracing the footsteps of Niorras. He is just gonna Memory of Grace out. In the end, he did get out of combat, so he gets to warp as well. Now Niorra heading over to the Warmface replacement. We'll see what the Demi-Human Queen decides to do there.
Yeah, if she's really truly Team Pirl and only helps out on that side, or if Niorra is lucky and maybe, who knows, maybe she'll help out even more.
Yeah. Okay, now she's joining the fray.
Oh, he actually...
Yeah, he knows that he needs to be careful. I mean, they will attack each other. Okay, he decides to go for the Demi-Human Queen first. I think that makes sense. I think that's a sensible thing to do in that situation. For Pirl, it was just simply the fact that she aggroed kind of late. And so he was almost done with the Deathbird, and that's why he decided to just kind of keep on blasting. But
yeah,
luckily, no problem there for Niorra as he ties up the score again at 60 apiece.
Yeah, in this case, actually, the Deathbird assisted Niorra in killing the Demi-Human Queen, so an assist on both sides, just the other way around. Also, you gotta let me out real quick. I really have to pee. I'm sorry. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, a little bit of downtime until Pirl engages this fight. Let's see how the RNG is going to be for him. Troll's already active, but the Priestess is not, so the fight is a little bit different for him, but not really significantly. However, he will now have to deal with... Okay, never mind. It's because the Priestess is already down the stairs. That is because Pirl actually didn't do the Grotto yet. Went to the Grotto to get the Grace, and now he goes for this fight, and that allowed the Nox Sorceress and the Nox Monk to get separated. We'll run down to chase the other Nox enemy. Meanwhile, we have another Crucible Knight for Niorra. We've seen quite a few of them, at least 3. Oh, Pirl, you have to be careful, dude. Can't take such a beating. Luckily, this Priestess usually doesn't deal as much damage in just one hit, but in multiple, so the Physic would have probably saved him there.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Now it's gonna be upper Kaelid's time for Niorra. I mean, he basically finished up everything in Altus after killing that Crucible Knight. He has nothing left there. And there are still 25 minutes left in the match, so it's going to be upper Kaelid stuff, Dragon Barrow, and then we'll have to scramble. Potentially the extra graces, potentially some easier checks. take a little bit more time.
Yeah. Which Grace would you go to first?
Out of the two that we have, I mean, probably Jagged Peak simply because the boss is so quick to check. Like, you basically run up and you can see the boss already. Otherwise, I think I would just go... If it's, like, something really bad, I just check Snowfield, I think.
Which Grace in Snowfields is it?
The Inner Consecrated Snowfield. So it's the one close to the cave to get to the Crusader. That's why I say it's close. It's the closest one to Theodorix.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, now the Grotto gonna be done by Pirl. Niorra is jumping down to get to the Mad Pumpkin duo replacement. Then he's gonna be heading over to the upper or the western Dragon Barrow part with the Bellbearing Hunter and also Hughes and Abandoned Cave. Mad Pumpkin head on the left side.
Again, having the difficulty with the helmet, of course, so for the first hit.
Yeah, Pirl's trying to, he's trying to go around as much as possible to avoid the helmet, but that actually results in him missing the attack. Definitely taking a little bit of time. Even the L1 does not get the job done. I think maybe in this instance you need to do crouch R1s because those are horizontal swings. And Garu is replacing the Mad Pumpkin duo even.
Yeah, I think that's now pretty much all the DLC Black Knights, right?
Yeah, both of them are out, yes.
Yeah.
Wrong warp there for Pirl. He goes to the wrong Grace as Niorra does get blasted a little bit. Get the kill in the end.
Yeah, it's a really close match so far. I mean, I do think that Pirl still has some advantage, but it's so close the whole time.
I mean, Pirl right now, he's actually 50 seconds ahead almost.
Yeah.
His timer is a little bit behind, as we've said a few times. So he does have a bigger of an advantage than it may actually seem. He also now didn't make it nighttime. Goes straight for the boss. Doesn't care about the enemies. Killed the one that could have been annoying. And I mean, this boss is going to go down so quickly that he doesn't really have to care. Now he's going to do a drop down to Godfroy.
Yeah. Did we see earlier who's in this episode that... Wait, oh no, he's going to the shack right now. Yeah, my bad.
And no one has been in Western Dragon Barrow at all.
Okay.
Or Upper Caelid is the first time that the players are entering it. Gonna be checking this merchant. I mean, that's like an interesting play because I feel like it has become a thing where you kind of come here earlier. Like you can see there's Crackblade there. That's a potential good Ash of War to be using.
Yeah, that's really good.
It increases your poise damage even further. It has become more of a thing where you kind of come here a lot earlier to, you know, get the info to see what the boss is, but also just check the merchant. And if this merchant had something really good and one of the players went there early and the other didn't, then suddenly, you know, you are 90 minutes into the match, almost 100 minutes into the match, and you are behind.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that extra build piece. Loretta, almost dead, gonna buff now. And unfortunately, Pirl, he is not using a shield, actually. Doing running attacks. He was using the L2 as well.
Interesting.
I don't think the running attack is actually that bad. It looks pretty okay.
No, running attacks are also quite high DPS, I think, but it's just the shield poke is even better.
Running R2 specifically.
Yeah, I mean, we did already see that earlier in the game, right at the start, where Pirl found the Great Hammer so much earlier, the Great Club, than Niorra, which isn't as extreme as if one person goes to Dragon Barrow, checks that merchant, and finds something right at the start versus another person 1.5 hours in. But yeah, it can definitely make quite the difference. So that is interesting that some people just go there for the merchant and then come back to the rest.
Okay, we have another Divine Beast Dancing Lion. We know for a fact that this is going to be a Deathblight one. Really nice stagger for Niorra as well. Gonna go for the ripples. This is going to deal a lot of damage. It's going to get another jump attack in before the phase transition. Unfortunately, that does not finish the fight. But he is probably going to try to jump in, does get a pivot, but avoids the lightning and does get a really fast fight done there. It's really, really good. Meanwhile, at the same time, Pirl heading back to Liurnia, finishing the Lakeside Crystal Cave. He was looking into his overlay to see what he's missing in the earlier areas. I think the rationale here is that he basically only has the Crystallian replacement left. And so he does not want to go for that skip until it is later in the matchup, because in theory, if you go for it now, you die and your score gets locked at 65, you're probably going to lose if your opponent doesn't die. However, if it's the last boss that you're going for and you mess up the skip and lock your score at like, I don't know, 85, there's a chance that your opponent might still not beat that one, right? If you are ahead.
Rakshasa can be very scary, but Pearl doing this so late in the match, and she's in Leonia, so it's pretty chill. Made it look easy, even though she's such a menace.
Yeah, Pearl also heading over to the Soldier of Godric, and now he sees that he still has the Tibia Mariner as well, so I assume he will be heading to Upper Kaled. And then I think, yeah, like one of the last things in the match that he's gonna do is probably that skip down to the Crystallians by Warmface. Crystallian. Abandoned Cave, no problems there. This one can be a little tricky sometimes because there's a lot of enemies that also have the high ground. Do not want to get blasted.
Yeah. But it is a stealth.
Early roll, but he does just get knocked. He doesn't actually get grabbed. However, he does miss time the roll after that. Doesn't matter. Poise damage is there. Does get the stagger. Does get the kill as well.
It's a little scary, you know, with all the rot around and Estelle doing such high damage sometimes with the grab, but luckily it worked out. Pearl getting harassed by a bird and a horse.
Yeah, he already thought that he was in the fog wall, so he was trying to turn off the overlay, and then at the same time it wasn't in the fog wall yet because he got interrupted. So he actually took his hand off the controller. You could see him reaching forwards. It's pretty funny because with this green screen, Pearl is slightly transparent as well. Like, he does probably have some, I don't know the way he set it up, but you can sometimes see like a little bit of the game behind him. It's pretty funny.
Maybe that's what he wants, you know? Just give us the maximum amount of information.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah, now he's heading over to Summon Water Village exactly as I expected, while Niorra is finishing up the rest of Liurnia that he hasn't done. I think this will be the only thing that he has in Liurnia. Actually, Stillwater Cave still as well, so he has 3 bosses here in Liurnia. And it's coming down to the wire. I mean, 50 seconds are right now separating these two players. I think Pearl has just kind of warped around a little bit more, and that's why his in-game time is behind. Pearl is absolutely still in the lead, but he needs to make sure that he capitalizes on his advantage. If he kind of fumbles around, he could definitely lose this match still. And that's talking about, you know, deathless outcome. If there's a death, obviously a lot of things can change still.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far though, no death in sight. There was the closest call was Niorra with that deathlight line.
For sure.
That was by far the closest. But ever since, they've both been playing pretty chill. They seem to know what they're doing. They play safe but still aggressive, and manage it very well to use their HP as a resource, but also not overdo it and produce very scary situations. So, who is it down there? Oh, Dan.
It's gonna be a Dan. One more hit. Nice. Pearl does skip the healing there. That's very, very good.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes into your favorite catacomb that you always talk about, how much you hate when people do this one.
I always say that it does take quite a bit longer than some other things, but considering he's done with Altus and he has 17 minutes left, I think this is not the wrong play right now to go for.
Yeah.
Right, like if your pace is a little bit lower, you might not want to do this one, theoretically, but yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
And I think it's probably going to be for Niorra, I assume it's gonna be Dragon Barrow after he's done. Oh yeah, Lakeside Crystal Cave for him still. So Stillwater, Lakeside Crystal Cave, and then after 70, he'll probably head over to Dragon Barrow. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Pirl still has to run all the way to Third Church, right? So Niorra is a little bit closer to Dragon Barrow than Pirl. Not a very big difference, but sometimes that can be the difference maker of just having a little bit more map progression already done than your opponent.
Yeah, I think one of the bad things that could happen is that Pirl runs out of time and does not have enough time to go through the entirety of Dragon Barrow. I don't see that happening at the moment, but if he does like mess around here for a lot longer, it might occur. And that would be a problem because the bosses there are extremely efficient in terms of how fast you can get from one to another.
Yeah.
So if you don't have time for Dragon Barrow, you're potentially missing out on several kills. It's not like, oh, you don't have like 2 minutes, you're missing out on a kill. No, it's gonna be multiple. As he now finds Placidusax. You don't like to see that. I mean, if you're doing an extra check over your opponent, you don't want to have Placidusax there.
Yeah. At least he gets a stagger.
That's a really nice stagger. The head is not gonna be exposed to him right now, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, the damage is so good that he's probably just gonna completely skip any kind of a phase transition. Very nice.
Very, very nice, yeah. Yeah, that's a scary one because he can stall so much, but luckily didn't have to deal with any of that and can just move on. So I would say that was probably worth the check then.
Oh, Niorra probably gonna head over to the tunnel here, the Gale Tunnel. He hasn't done that yet. And yeah, he also hasn't done this duo of bosses that just saw Pirl do. As Pirl reaches the score of 70. Niorra sitting at 69.
Nice.
Not doing the drop down to the boss, instead going around. This has the risk of... It minimizes the risk of dying to gravity, but it does have the risk of alienating some other enemies that are on the way. Now has to deal with the meteor as well. Fire on the ground, waits for a down to run out, but he deals so much damage that he shouldn't really be too bothered. Let's get the kill there as well.
Yeah, he also decides to go for the catacomb. No, actually, he teleported away.
I think he might have been in combat or something. Did he teleport when he was opening the door, or what happened there?
I mean, he ran towards the door and then he teleported.
Yeah, I think it might have been either he was in combat or he decided that it was not worth his time simply because there's not that much time left.
Yeah, I mean, he only has 13 minutes left and he still has all of Dragon Barrow. And as you said, that's such efficient checks that you definitely want to have enough time for that, right? So,
yeah.
And 13 minutes is, I guess, kind of looking a little dicey to get it all done, right?
Yeah, I mean, 13 minutes is plenty, but you need to, like, actually get started, because if there's something spooky or something that you need to skip, like, yeah.
How absolutely. Long would you estimate does Dragon Barrow take for all the bosses?
I don't know. I mean, I think you can probably nail it down in like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's...
It depends on how long the fights are gonna be. But like once you make it to Dragon Barrow, it's basically one boss per like 30 seconds.
Okay.
That's
faster than I thought.
1, 2, 3, 4. So you do have like 2 minutes of running. If each boss takes a minute, gets you about 6 minutes or so then overall, and then Dragon Barrow Cave on top of that if they decide to do it. So yeah. I think it's going to be high time for both of them. And this is where, like, I don't know what Pirl's going to be up to, because he did those 2 extra, now less efficient checks. And the question is, like, is that going to come back to bite him, right? Is the efficiency going to be enough for Pirl to take a lead? As we are now both having both players at 71 to 71. And Pirl having a little bit of trouble here. He got a much earlier phase transition, was not able to get a stagger. No overkill for him. Now he finally does so, but definitely lost some time on this fight as well.
Yeah.
We're now heading over to Soldier of Godric. That's going to be his 72nd.
It's so close. Crazy.
It is really close, but obviously still Pirl in the lead, score-wise, time-wise. The fact that he has a lead and he has done two less efficient checks, I think that's a really nice sign for him. The only way it can backfire is that in the way that Niorra does do something really efficient, like the Dragon Barrow, and Pirl does not have time for it. And the difference could be made up. Is it going to be enough to swing the tides of this match? I'm not sure, but anything can still happen. Especially because Pirl still has that Crystallian tunnel, tunnel in Altus, right? Like he still will be doing that skip that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he does get a bad running attack.
Ooh.
Yeah, he messes up the tech there. Does he have a bolus? Does not. Does he decide to... He didn't take the grace. He cannot even reset right now. Okay, so he's gonna be rotted for this cave.
Oh, that's really scary. I don't like that. I mean, Estelle does take a lot of damage, and he should get a stagger pretty quickly, but he's looking again.
I mean, he's equipping the rotten dumplings, yeah. Meanwhile, Niorra, with 10 minutes left, 72 on the board, is heading over to Dragon Barrow for the first time in this match for either player.
Oh my god, Pirl. You.
Yeah, Pirl needs to definitely heal. He only has 2 flasks. He's out of flasks.
I just feel like he can't even... Can he actually do... I mean, he has 2 dumplings.
He definitely can do this. Onyx Lord, that's funny. We saw this boss here exactly in this place yesterday.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, let's see. Now it will depend a lot on Astel's RNG. So far, so good. Good opener. Let's get a nice jump attack. You don't want to see this. This is a stall move. You definitely cannot get hit by anything if you're Pirl right now. And there's the claw. That could have been a death for sure.
Doesn't have...
Yeah, he's trying to heal.
Oh, he gets hurt.
This is really bad. Yeah, the grab, that's even more stalling. He tries to get a hit in. That's so... He has to Memory of Grace out!
He graces out.
Memory of Grace is out!
It's better than dying. It's so bad, but it's better than dying at least.
That's -1 point, just like that. Like, he basically spent all the time getting a boss, but he does not get the point for it. And now the score is 73-72 as Niorra has started the Dragon Barrow chain. Killed Onyx Lord in the meantime. That is really unlucky because, like, the problem is, if you don't take the Grace going into Abandoned Cave, the Geyser cycle is going to be bad. So what you want to do is, if you have enough stats, is that you can tank the Geyser, which we saw Pirl do, but then you need to have perfectly done the backstep running attacks to get through. And he messed it up. He went backwards. He got himself rotted, and that cost him a point right there.
That is so unfortunate. I mean, that could be the difference maker. That could be all that advantage that Pirl had just gone, right?
I mean, yeah, he basically just lost the point. Like, he's -1.
Yeah.
Ancestor Spirit for Niorra on the bridge. Regular version as well. No healing shenanigans. Does get a stagger. No riposte. Just jump attacks to the head.
Well done. So far, Dragon Barrow has some bosses that you would like to see. It's nothing too crazy so far. So Niorra should be definitely able to get this chain done.
I think, like, against Astel, the #1 chance that he had was to be like Niorra, where you get a fast stagger. But the problem is that because of all the stalling and getting hit on top of that, he did miss out on keeping up poise. And because he didn't keep up poise, the stagger was not going to probably happen before meteors. And if you have to wait for meteors, you're just going to die to the rot. Like, I think Memory of Gracing there was the right play. I'm just, yeah, it's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if that is what loses Pirl the match.
I mean, right now,
he can still pull through.
I would say that it's about even. I'd say it's about even. But it will depend. Niorra now finding a falling star beast does take 50% of his health in one hit. Nice headshots there. Goes for the riposte as well. Makes a lot of sense as Pirl is now making his way over to Dragon Barrow. Not going to be getting the grace whatsoever. Just going into Dragon Barrow straight away.
Yeah, I mean, he has to make up time. I think he knows it as well. He knows that that was really bad. And
course, yeah.
He assumes that his opponent didn't make that same mistake. And so he really has to rush now.
I mean, he also, like, Pirl just didn't need Pirl didn't need to take that grace for anything, right? Like, he doesn't need to get that extra flask and stuff like that. And yeah, I also agree with Rumbler that if you ran out of the tunnel, it probably would have been a little bit quicker, but the difference wouldn't be that big, I think, out of the Gale tunnel. And it's also like one of those things where you're routing on the fly. It's a little bit difficult to think of it in the moment, in the heat of the moment. As 50 seconds still separate these two players. Niorra sits down, level 66 strength. And gonna be heading over through this Dragon Barrow cave. This one can be a little scary. Sometimes enemies can drop into the cave with you, into the boss arena. It's not very, very good. Very highly skilled area for both these players right now. Drops down, drinks his physic as well. This is a little risky doing all this stuff because the enemy could follow you in and he's gonna have to deal with a dual fight. Luckily, one of them is the Miranda Flower, so that one's gonna be stationary.
Yeah, you just have to be careful when it summons the light beams.
Yeah, there they are. Those. Luckily for Niorra, he does roll away. As the fight against Ancestor Spirit starts for Pirl.
Can the Ancestor Spirit fall off the bridge?
Yeah, it could definitely happen. Nice use of the fire grease as well. He does go for the riposte, does not use the same strategy that Niorra did. I did like what Niorra did a little bit better. Now he has to rely on a little bit more RNG, does Pirl, as he is looking forward to finishing this fight just now. And at the same time, Niorra also gets his 76th on the board. Gonna head over to the last fight here in Dragon Barrow. And then it's gonna get interesting based on, you know, which checks are kind of left for each of these players.
Yeah, I mean, around 4 minutes left is not a lot of time, right? That's, you'll have to see what you can even get done.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to decide quickly on the fly. I mean, both players are definitely thinking about it right now. We just have to hope that for Pirl, the fact that he, you know, missed out that point does not mess with his mental.
Yeah. They're actually going to fight the exact same boss right now, just from 2 different sides.
Yeah, I like Niorra's routing a little bit better simply because you could see that with the path, with the patrolling, the Putrid Avatar was completely on the other side of the bridge for Pirl, so he had to run a lot further.
Also, Niorra's damage now is way better. Did you notice that?
Yeah, because both of his weapons are heavy.
Yeah, true.
Both of his weapons are heavy, while Pirl's... Uh-oh, he's playing risky. He's gonna go for the kill. Does get it. Must not die to the AoE right now.
Oh my god, that
Nicely
was...
done. That's crazy. Yeah, the fact that he rolls the AoE is kind of wild. Stormfoot Catacomb gonna be the next place of destination for Niorra.
That was so scary. Yeah, I mean, this one Pirl has already done, so I'm curious to see what Pirl is going to do as his extra bosses after.
Well, he needs to do that Altus tunnel still.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they have the extra graces. They have the start of the DLC potentially as well. That could be an option. Right now, Niorra is definitely not getting a higher score than about 79, I think.
Well, I guess we'll see if Pirl is able to get the 80 potentially.
I mean, in the end, he doesn't need the 80. He just needs to get 79 sooner, which I don't think is going to happen. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say at the moment because these two fights are both a little bit longer. And as you pointed out, Pirl's damage is worse now because only one of his weapons is heavy.
Yeah.
He never found the second Ash of War.
Yeah, it's so interesting because throughout all of the first half of the match, Pirl always had the edge in the damage just because Niorra had the strength scaling a little too early on his weapons. But now the tides have turned and the strength is on Niorra's side with both the Ashes of Wars that he duped at the start at some point.
Yeah.
Like for the people who missed it, he used that Ash of War dupe. And Pirl missed out on that.
Yeah, this is really, really, really close at the moment. I mean, Niorra in the lead again. We'll see if basically what needs to happen for Pirl to win is that in those like extra 40 seconds that he has, he gets an extra kill, which I find kind of hard to believe is gonna happen. As Niorra now heads over to one of the extra graces, gonna check Theodorix. This could be the last kill. Unless it's something really, really quick, because running to the boss is really fast, but the fight should take a long time. However, if it's like Soldier of Godric, then, well, that's an insane play, and he should probably be able to get to 80 that way. Let's see. As Pirl now finds this dual fight as well. He prepared the Memory of Grace. And both of the bosses are aggroed. He is gonna have to be safe. Yeah, he needs to be careful with this AoE.
Yeah.
Nice. Nicely done. Aware of it. And Niorra now using a Dragon Wound Grease of his own and gonna be fighting a dragon, which is Grail. Damage is insane. Yeah, damage is insane. Gonna have about a minute left after this fight. We'll see what he decides to do with that time. I would assume start of DLC will be on his mind. Actually has even a little bit over a minute.
Wow. I don't know if Pirl even has enough time to get close to this.
And Niorra sitting down. Gotta run DLC option. Enters the start of the DLC as well. Yeah, I mean, gonna come down to the fact that Pirl just does not have that point.
Yeah.
Like, that straight up cost him the match.
I think that's actually true, yeah. He would be now at 79. And he still has enough time for maybe one boss, right? And
yeah, like Niorra most likely doesn't get the 80. Like,
yeah.
The highest chance is that he doesn't get the 80. While Pirl is going to be fighting Loretta here. Has about a minute to finish the fight, which is not a lot, but it is doable. It is doable. And if he had that extra point, he would get to 80 himself. We will see.
Oh, that is so frustrating, right? Just from one backstep attack, messing it up. It's not even the stealth fight itself, but it's him being rotted.
Why is he checking the merchant? Oh man, why is he checking the merchant? Gonna buff up. Can even drink his physic.
Yeah, it's over for Niorra. 79 is the final score for him.
Yeah, and there's nothing that Pirl can do because his 79th kill is gonna come. If he does get it, he's gonna get it about a minute later. And so that is gonna determine the Season 1 champion's fate in this tournament. It's gonna end his journey. Valiantly, he fought through the lower bracket. 2 matches did he win, but unfortunately, if you entered the lower brackets, one loss is all it takes.
But in the end, I guess, I mean, honestly, I think he would have had the 80 if he didn't have to, like, Memory of Grace out there. And
it's so close. It's so close because he would spend more time at Astel.
Yeah.
He would spend more time at Astel, so he would have less time for Loretta as well, right?
I guess that's true. So it might have been Niorra's match either way. But I mean, GG. They both fought very well. That is so unfortunate for Pirl. I wish we could know what would have happened if he didn't have that.
Yeah, it's just so hard to say. I think really what determines the end of this match is the fact that Niorra was able to get to Dragon Barrel faster, right? Like, he did have the damage advantage in the late game. And because of it, these really high-scaled bosses that took a little bit longer, like we blasted most of the bosses through this match, and really the few at the end is where Niorra made up the time. And I want to point out, it's not just that. It's actually also Pirl's routing. The fact that he did do the Stormfoot, the fact that he did do that extra catacomb after the Putrid Avatar that Niorra didn't do.
True, yeah.
Pirl ran out of time to do efficient things here at the end. Meanwhile, Niorra kind of didn't, right? Like, he was not gonna get either the Kalit Catacomb or this DLC starter boss. There was no chance for that. So the fact that he didn't do that one extra check basically gave him an extra edge over Pirl as well. So it's both routing, obviously the Pirl mistake, and the damage.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think finally you have proof. I mean, you already had proof before and everyone believed you. But like, it's just once again showing that some of these less efficient checks are just not worth unless they're really the last things that you could do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That'd be a lesson to all the players watching right now.
Yeah, especially since they got Deathless like fairly early in the Urnia, you know?
Yeah, I think that really makes sense that he should have done that if he was fishing for Deathless. But since it wasn't such obvious checks and he just did those later, though, delaying himself with those less efficient checks, I think that was just That was not the best. And then, of course, also, yeah, the damage advantage in the late game. But I feel like since in the early game, Pearl had the advantage, that doesn't even matter that much. Although I feel like in late game, it also matters more, though, when you have so much more damage.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Because in the early game, you're kind of blasting through everything, right?
Yeah, like,
I mean,
anyway.
Pirl had the routing advantage in the early game. He was able to get himself the extra money. He was able to get started a lot sooner. He had extra upgrades. And, I mean, his early game was so much faster. That's why he was in the lead the entirety of the match.
Yeah.
But then some of the small things came back to bite him. He checked an extra merchant at Bellum Highway, which I just don't think you should do. He, did the inefficient checks, 2 of them. I mean, Niorra did 1 of them as well, so that evens out. But he did 1 extra one. And in the end, yeah, he never found the second Ash of War to get another heavy on his weapon.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of came back to bite him. Of course, the biggest mistake was missing out on that on that Astel fight, unfortunately, because he got rotted.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess that concludes Pearl's journey in the Deathless Randomizer League Season 2.
Yep.
The first season he won. Second season, sadly, he went out after valiant effort, though. I guess we'll see, hopefully, where he will be able to get in Season 3. Maybe this is going to be, the fire under his butt that he needed. A little less wow, a little more routing. No, I don't know. But
I don't know. I don't think he's feeling that way right now. You could tell that this meant a lot to him, and unfortunately, like he played really well. Like that's the problem, right? He played really well for like. You have a 2-hour match and you play really well for 110 minutes, and basically the last 10 minutes, of course, routing decision aside, is what kind of ruins it for you completely.
Yeah.
Because absolutely, if he was a little bit more efficient, if he didn't have that Astel incident, not Altus incident, he would have gotten to 80 on time.
Yeah.
And that would have been the victory over Niorra. But what must be said is also, Niorra, great comeback. He had a really tough early game. He lost so much time on so many fights where his damage just wasn't up to speed in the early game, and then he played really solid. He made up time on bosses like Elden Beast that we saw in Liurnia. He saved a lot of time on that, and in the end, I think his decision making in terms of bosses was just good, because if you compare doing that Catacomb that Pearl did versus what Niorra did in the Snowfield, like his fight was just faster for that point, right? So it was just smart routing on his part. And he was running to the Catacomb and then he just warped away. So, yeah, smart play there. Yep. Niorra going to be moving over to the next round in the lower bracket. Going to be facing off against Rambler.
Yeah, Rambler. Well, Rambler, are you scared? Or are you...
Can you show the bracket on stream?
Yes, actually, that is a good idea. There we go. So this was the match we just witnessed. Pearl versus Niorra, and now moving on, of course, is Niorra. What?
Like F5'd.
Oh, is it already
Lower
updated?
Bracket.
Oh, it is already updated. Wow, this website is so good. Yeah, so Rambler versus Niorra to be scheduled. Looking forward to that. It's gonna be a great fight, I'm sure. Rambler unfortunately fell down to the bracket, falling to Forsa himself. I mean, who could blame you for falling to Forsa? So now, though, having the chance to fight your way back into the finals. But same as Niorra, also wanting to secure his spot in the finals, of course. So I guess we'll see who makes it or who goes out next. Always scared. I
mean, Niorra has been playing in the lower bracket. He's been playing like a beast. He got 81 against 77 versus NPT. And now he got another 79. It's a very high score. Obviously good build right from the get-go. But if he didn't have that bad luck at the start in terms of his routing, if he kind of polishes that out a little bit, I mean, this was an 80 for him for sure. So overall, very, very formidable opponent. Seed number 3, of course, went pretty far in DRL Season 1, and he exacted his revenge on Pirl today. So the rivalry will have to continue. We are not concluding it just yet.
Yeah, I hope we get to see the same matchup in the next season. But I guess that does it for us. I think probably, the French casters are interviewing the players. So I think for the English broadcast, that's it. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you, Kata, for co-commentating. It was very fun.
That was a really fun matchup. I was glad to be here for it. I'm a little sad. Pirl's my good friend, so seeing him go out like that is a little disheartening. I know how it feels, but I mean, he'll be back. He'll be back stronger, and I was happy to cast nevertheless. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so thank you all for witnessing this awesome match, and we'll see you for the next one. Are you casting something soon? I guess there's we're still waiting for some stuff to be scheduled.
Yeah.
Next one coming up is
next one is tomorrow.
Tomorrow gonna be cast by Hoosier and Forsa. Forsa in French, Hoosier in English. It's gonna be tomorrow at 7 p.m. CET. Of course, go to the website to see it in your time zone. And
some big matches coming up. I mean, we have the winner semifinals already scheduled, so we will know the winner bracket finalist on Saturday, one of them between Forsa and Kaijuro. Then sometime next week we'll know between Roman and Iron as well. Lower bracket will also proceed, and as Bob said, more things will be scheduled. So in order to stay up to date, drl.forsa.tv.
Exactly. So let's send you over now to next place. Who's actually casting the French? We can or I'll just send you to, I think Niorra is still streaming. We'll just send you to the winner of the match.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that is that's nice. So go send some support to Niorra, amazing player, as you literally just witnessed. So go send some support there. And Kata's gonna be streaming on his channel tomorrow with some Dark Souls 1. I'm gonna continue Baldur's Gate 3. And DRL continues also tomorrow at 7 p.m. And thanks again for being here and supporting the tournament and all of us.